The soldiers' morale is high since they've been charged with protecting the world of men. But the longer the troops remain there, the more money's required. It's becoming problematic. Also, there is the other matter. The Elfrieden Kingdom. They've been asked to contribute to the war effort. The deadline is approaching, but they have yet to respond.
You're going to turn me over to the Empire in the place of financial aid?
I'm terribly sorry about this, and hope you can forgive us.
You see, while the Demon Lord's domain doesn't border our own kingdom, it abuts the Grand Chaos Empire, which happens to be the largest country in all Landia. Because of their brave efforts, we see many benefits and few monster attacks. But it costs. The Empire requires financial assistance from countries that do not share the border with the Demon Lord's domain.
So the issue ultimately comes down to money. If the Empire's willing to fight them, you have to pay them.
We'd love to, the only problem is we can't.
Right. Our country has been experiencing a continuous shortage of food. The expansion of the Demon Lord's domain has sent us refugees who were chased from their homes, and the cost of feeding them is astronomical. As things currently stand, we are in no position to supply any financial assistance. However, within the Empire's request for aid, there is a clause that states that if we cannot contribute financially, we may perform the hero rite of summoning. The sacred ritual of bringing forth a hero has been handed down in our kingdom for generations. We can send you instead of funds. That's tradition. It's with the utmost reluctance we...
You'd be more than willing to sell off your own daughters if it meant paying your debts, right? So, after handing the Empire a hero, what will happen to me after?
Well, we're a little murky on the subject.
All right. Then what makes a hero in the first place?
Legend says that a hero is the one who will lead the revolution into a new age.
The what? No disrespect, but that's more than a little vague.
The thing is, information is scarce, so the who and what of a hero are shrouded in mystery.
Seems like the Empire has an interest in them, though. I hope they don't want you to hand me over for dissection. Or anything else equally as macabre. Not reassuring.
There isn't a chance in a million that they would do such a thing.
Yes, 1,000,000. Well, 1,000. I'd put the odds at about 100.
Why's the possibility keep going up? Seems as though I'm stuck here for the moment. My original life plan was to become a civil servant, but now here I am, at risk of being dissected in some fantasy adventure. I could run, but without any knowledge of the castle, that's easier said than done. Plus, if I screw up and get captured, this whole situation will only get worse. Which basically means the next thing I say pretty much determines my fate. If I may, permit me to ask one more thing.
I suppose so.
Are requests made by the Empire limited to this one, or are you expecting some more?
Well, of course they would need...
Actually, the way I see matters, there's no end to these requests in sight, as long as the monsters persist in their attacks.
I'm sure you're right about that. So, I have another question. Going back to the rite of hero summoning, as long as you perform the full ritual, would you be able to summon however many people that you would need?
Oh, so you see, that's complicated.
According to our records, we did summon a hero prior to you, nearly 500 years ago. That took place only the once and at our nation's founding. There were, of course, several failed attempts over the years.
Assuming that's true, this is significant. I'm pretty much the one card this country has to play. Does that sound about right?
Yes, I would say so.
In that case, doesn't giving me up to the Empire right now seem a little vacuous?
Come again?
As you know, dear, vacuous means something that's done without any thought.
Ah, yes, that vacuous, of course.
I think it might be working. And if we are truly thinking ahead, we should review the country's finances, and then adopt new policies. Ones that will help to increase the Elfrieden Kingdom's national strength, so we can reject Imperial demands.
Enough influence and power that we could say no to even the Grand Chaos Empire?
Us? But how? Accomplishing such a feat would require...
A hero? Am I not supposed to lead the revolution into a new age? And this act is merely the beginning. We might be able to bring real change to this country. Change the country. That was the idea. Only problem was I didn't have a plan. Still, all I need to do is find a way of coming up with the aid money. To start off, tell me about all the country's finances. I want to hear everything that's in place. I need to take a close look at the budget reports. Data on agriculture, forestry, fisheries, the economy, infrastructure, and transport.
Prime Minister, if you would please be so kind.
At once.
And so, a wide range of topics were discussed. The conference between the Elfrieden King, Albert, Prime Minister Marx, and the hero Souma went on longer than expected, lasting for 3 days and nights.
Hark and listen! I request your undivided attention. I, Albert Elfrieden, the 13th King of the Elfrieden nation, being of sound mind and body, hereby abdicate the throne and transfer all of its powers over to our summoned hero, Souma Kazuya.
What? Huh?
Further, I am pleased to announce the engagement of my daughter, Princess Lycia Elfrieden, to heroic newly appointed King Souma.
April 1546 by the continental calendar. The King of Elfrieden hands the throne over to Souma Kazuya. This news quickly spreads, reaching the three dukedoms, a trio of rulers who head the kingdom's armed forces, creating a significant stir among them.
What? Albert abdicated the throne? Yes, sir. There is more. He has ceded the throne to Souma, the hero they summoned.
That's certainly a bold move, and coming from King Albert of all people.
When this news reaches her, I bet Princess Lycia will be beside herself.
Father, Mother, hold on! I'll rescue you!
Right there, that's the spot.
Father! Mother? You're fine. It's absurd! I heard that the throne had been usurped and came running to save you, only to find you two casually carrying on like that.
As you can see, the throne hasn't exactly been usurped. I abdicated it in favor of Souma of my own free will.
But why go and make such a rash decision?
It was hardly rash. Though I've spent a short amount of time with him, I'm convinced he will make a better king than I ever could. It was a decision made responsibly by the individual in charge of this country. And I won't have any arguments.
But Father, how could you declare my engagement without even asking me?
Concerning that matter, it is ultimately a discussion for the two of you. While there is no denying the marriage arrangement was my idea originally, if you don't want to go through with it, I highly doubt that Souma will insist.
Mother, is he being serious?
My dear, you should go and meet Souma first. Then decide whether or not he's for you. We can't just force you to love someone.
They can't expect me to discuss the matter civilly with him. Obviously, this Souma guy is up to no good. I'm coming in.
Hey, whoever you are, give me a hand.
Pardon?
Hold up. You are able to read, right?
Please, I'm not some idiot. I've had an extensive education.
Then what's 3 plus 2?
5.
And 6 times 2?
12, obviously.
42 divided by 7?
7 I mean 6. I got confused.
Good enough. Get over here and help me with the budget.
What help you? Just who do you think me to be anyway?
Reserves to help me with these finances?
I am Lycia Elfrieden, former King Albert Elfrieden's daughter, and you will show me respect.
Seriously? You're a princess?
Isn't it obvious?
Well, not really. That looks like a military uniform.
Because it is a military uniform. I'm stationed with the army under the command of Duke Carmine. I was out there performing my patrol duties and rushed home when I heard the news.
Now that you mention it. Yeah, I should have known. There is something princessy about you. Oh, right. Name's Souma. And for better or worse, I'm the new ruler here.
And I used to be this kingdom's princess. Before you came along, that is, and stole the throne away. I'm not quite sure what I am now.
Excuse me, stole? If you'd been here, you'd know the king was more than happy to push the crown on me.
Perhaps you can explain that. I realize you're the hero they summoned to trade to the Empire, but you just arrived and suddenly my father makes you our sovereign?
I'm just as confused as you. I was just looking out for my own safety and suddenly I'm running things.
Oh?
I do wonder whether the two of them will find common ground.
They'll be fine, dear. Trust me.
When I brought up fiscal reforms, I knew I might be put in charge of the kingdom's financial management or something like that. But I never expected to be made its king.
So listen, I'm sorry for how I acted.
You have nothing to apologize for. Hey, you're the victim here. No one asked whether you wanted to get engaged.
Yeah, concerning that,
Don't worry about the whole betrothal thing. I'm only keeping the throne warm for a little while. After a few years, I'll probably retire from this king gig.
Really?
All I wanted to do was fill up your coffers. It was the only way I saw to keep myself from being handed over to the Empire. Then again, now that I've been given the throne, can't waste it. Least I can do is get this country's finances back on track. But after it's on the right track, I'll let this country handle the rest. Of course, you can cancel our engagement.
Such arrogance. You say you're going to quit being the king after only a few years. Can you really do anything for the kingdom in that short amount of time? And before you answer, let's start with all the aid to the Empire.
Oh, that. I've already secured the necessary funds.
It looks like they found someone to act as custodian. We should be getting the Elfrieden exports soon.
There is a great demand among the wealthy when it comes to jewelry sourced from royal families. Investing funds in order to snatch up the standout pieces was the right call, Princess Roroa.
And as a result, we did a fair bit of business.
I must confess, this new king of theirs is certainly making some bold new policy.
Elfrieden can't afford to hold on to jewels while its citizens starve. They need to jumpstart their economy. At first, I wasn't sure why they made that hero their king. But based on what I've seen so far, he could be a formidable opponent.
Yes.
You sold off our national treasures? The national treasures belong to the whole country. You can't just give them away.
Come on, would you take it easy? If they belong to the whole country, then it's fair to sell them for the sake of the nation's subjects, right?
Yeah, all right, but there were numerous cultural and historical pieces.
True, which is why I made sure not to sell those. In Group A, I placed national treasures that have historic or cultural value. Those with neither went into Group B. The remainder were put into Group C. Only B was sold. When it comes to A's fundraising potential, they have more long-term value put on display in a museum. It wouldn't make much sense to sell them off.
It was smart of you to categorize them, but what about Group C?
Magical tools, which frankly I'm not sure how to handle. I would label those more as weapons. We can't put them on display, or risk the wrong person buying them. Speaking of, there is a full set of antique hero gear. If we find the right buyer, it should fetch a ton of cash. Sound good?
You wouldn't dare. Just what kind of hero are you?
Despite his sudden ascension to the throne, the country appears quite tranquil on the surface. The question is, how long will that last? Anyhow, Kanadia, see this new hero turned king with your own eyes. Determine how capable he is.
Putting a price on all of our national treasures. Not what I expected from a hero.
If I hadn't, they would have handed me over to the Empire.
That is true, but still. Tell me, have you already sent the aid money to the Empire?
No, not yet. I told them to hold off on paying until the last possible day.
Then how about instead of giving it to the Empire, you redirect the funds to the military? After all, your ultimate goal is to get our kingdom enough power to resist them, is it not? At the military academy, they taught us to spend heavily on defense and nothing when it came to tribute.
So rather than offering payment for momentary peace, in the long run, the wiser choice would be to invest in building our military?
Allow me to chain your adage and immediately activate my own. Time equals money. The financial assistance takes on this card's effect, and by sacrificing it, we gain time, which is what our country needs most in this situation.
What are you doing with your voice?
Never mind that. Here's my point. Say we build up our military. If we neglect our domestic problems, it means nothing. Until we resolve our food shortage and refugee crisis, we'll continue losing the people's support. It wouldn't take much work for an outside force to instigate an uprising. The country would be in a vulnerable state.
A revolt? Not the people of Elfrieden. They love their country. They wouldn't dare.
That's idealistic thinking. The fact is, when people go hungry, morals and patriotism vanish. You can't show concern for others if you have no breathing room yourself. Agreed?
It's true what they say. You really are a huge realist.
Know what? Perhaps I am. This world is one of magic, and inhabited by unusual creatures. If you feel like flying, you can always hop on a wyvern's back. Large domesticated beasts pull the wagons, and mighty sea dragons provide the power for steel battleships. There are no light bulbs, but the streets are illuminated at night by lamps filled with glowing moss. Cooking is done using fire-based magic on wood-burning ovens. Even though there's no hard science here, day-to-day jobs are accomplished through the power of magic. However, once you strip away the mystical and fantastical elements, it's a country with a rudimentary level of technology. The Industrial Revolution is years off, and the feudal system is still in full swing. Now, I'm a part of it. The king of this country. A magic check?
Yes, sire. After consulting various tomes regarding the ritual, there appear to be instances of heroes being imparted with magical abilities after they've been transported from other worlds.
Got it. So basically it's like a test to see if I have any newfound abilities which may end up proving useful. All I have to do is touch the statue?
Yes. If any magic was transferred to you during the summoning, its nature will become apparent to you once you make contact with the stone.
I don't know who came up with this, but I love how straightforward it is.
How did it go, my king?
I never thought I'd say these words, but apparently I'm a magic wielder now.
Oh.
The question is, what sort of practical applications does this power have?
Soma, I'm coming in. What is going on?
Licia, good you're here.
Looks like everything's handled. You're using magic to move those pens, right?
Turns out I found a good use for it. Since I'm able to copy my consciousness onto inanimate objects and control them, I figured I might as well get some extra work done around here. What I mean is, I'm not actually moving the pens per se. They're an extension of my mind, but writing on their own. Since I came up with the technique, it's only fitting I name it. I call this living poltergeist. A bit chinibyo of me, huh?
I don't know what a chuny whatever is, but that is one weird ability.
I guess. Moving 3 objects is the most I can manage at this point. And it seems like they have to be close to me in order to work. Very handy, though. It's like copying myself, and being able to work on multiple tasks simultaneously. In short.
Oh, go on.
Super convenient for doing paperwork. So, yeah, my newfound power's making certain tasks easier. Without it, you'd probably find me buried underneath a mountain of paper in here.
Even with your extra help, it looks like you're barely avoiding a bureaucratic avalanche. Just what sort of work are you doing, by the way?
Let's say we're digging for buried treasure.
Buried treasure?
More precisely, we're tracking down unaccounted for expenditures. We take the budgetary requests, then look at the financial statements. Even though the amount requested and spent may seem to be a perfect match, the itemized expenses will sometimes be different. That can indicate 2 things. First, wasteful spending in order to use up the budget, or 2, misappropriation of funds disguised as an investment. We are poring over every request form the kingdom has received and keeping an eye out for any glaring discrepancies. If any embezzlement is discovered, the guilty party will pay the amount back. And if they refuse, they'll be arrested and their property seized.
Is it necessary to go to such lengths? After all, you solved our financial woes by selling the national treasures and paying the Empire.
Sure. For now, at least I don't have to worry about being turned over to the Empire anymore. Still, if we want this country to get back on track, we can never have enough capital. Same goes for manpower.
I can't help but wonder if Soma and Licia are getting along.
Knowing the 2 of them, I'm sure they're doing just fine.
You think so, dear? Yes, you're right.
It's morning already.
What, morning? How long have you been standing there?
Not very long. Maybe less than a minute.
Who are you?
You looked comfortable. Just wanted to make sure you slept well. Anyway, the paperwork's all wrapped up. If you wanted to nap a little while longer.
I'm rested. Don't tell me you never stopped. By the looks of it, you haven't slept in ages.
I was planning on catching a few winks later. But in the meantime, would you care to join me?
This minute?
Yeah. If you don't mind, I have something I want to show you.
Easy. It's not like you have to hold on to my waist so tight.
Sorry, but this is pretty scary for me.
Some hero you are. Traditionally, the man should be up front holding the horse's reins.
I can't help it. This is my first time riding on a horse.
You're joking.
We get around other ways. Like where I come from, we travel using machines and don't rely on animals.
Sounds like quite the place. Someone, tell me something.
What is it?
The place you're originally from. Do you have family there waiting for you to return? Or, friends, girlfriends, anything like that?
There's no one. My grandpa was the last of my relatives, and he passed away before I came here.
Sorry to ask.
No reason to apologize. My grandfather lived a full life. Basically, there's no one waiting for me to return. I guess I'm in no hurry to go back right away, either.
I see.
You could stop here.
Pretty how the morning dew makes it glisten.
You think so?
I mean, the whole reason you brought me out here was so we could look at it, right?
In a way. You can't eat scenery, though. And that's why we're experiencing a food shortage.
Eating scenery? What are you getting at?
It's pretty simple. As far as the eye can see, there are nothing but cotton fields.
And they can't be harvested for consumption.
Getting right to the point. The reason this country has a food shortage is because there are too many of these fields.
Meaning?
It started with the Demon Lord's domain. The countries north of here used to produce a lot more cotton, but damage caused by the monster attacks forced production to cease. Speaking of, in this world, the further north you travel, the warmer it gets.
Does it work differently where you come from?
Actually, the weather's the opposite. Anyway, that's beside the point. Supplies dropped, and the purchase price of cotton shot up, leading this country to change course. At the time, you wanted to produce and sell as much cotton as possible, and in turn, the farmer stopped growing food. A crop you can't eat, and is grown solely for market, is commonly referred to as a cash crop. There's a drawback when you devote your entire agricultural system to growing them. It leads to a sharp decline in food self-sufficiency.
Which explains the current food shortage.
Sort of. You can always import crops from other countries if supplies aren't adequate.
You're right. Not to mention cotton sells for a higher price. We could use the money to purchase food from elsewhere.
Yes, just one problem. Cotton prices have considerably fallen. There was profit to be made, so other countries realized this and rushed to produce cotton. As a result, the global supply far exceeded the demand. And now, the cash crop this kingdom had been relying heavily on is practically worthless.
Meaning less funds to import fruits and vegetables from other countries.
And since we're importing less these days, the cost of domestically grown foods have continued skyrocketing. The most vulnerable classes are the people who've suffered the most. Just one of the numerous hardships that's undermining this country's progress.
I had no idea. I was ignorant of my country's suffering. Its people. As a royal, I'm an utter failure.
Don't talk like that. Hey, nobody said that leading a kingdom would be easy.
Wait, leading? Then the reason you brought me out here was because...
Yeah. Someday, Licia, you'll be the ruler of Elfrieden. What I want, most of all, is to leave you with every tool you'll need to succeed. So after I've gone back home, you'll be able to manage all facets of this country. first step is to limit the acreage for cash crops and start planting food again, so we end the shortage and no longer have to be as dependent on other countries. The kingdom will provide farmer subsidies to support the changeover. Also, we need to prioritize planting soybeans and potatoes. They have a variety of uses and also can survive harsh weather. Alicia, you listening?
I was paying attention.
It's not like agricultural reforms just happen overnight. For the time being, no matter whether all the food was imported or domestically produced, the kingdom will purchase it and sell the goods for less than we bought them for.
Sounds like that's gonna leave us in even more debt.
And I'd like us to make up the deficit with our exports. But given the current market value, we will need to find a new cash cow that isn't cotton.
Easier said than done. I'm going off topic for a second here, but the king isn't exactly supposed to be eating in the mess hall.
Don't worry about it. We're busy economizing the castle. We have to conserve meal expenses.
Yeah, but still.
It's been some time, Princess. Or rather, should I refer to you as Queen Licia from now on?
Nothing's official. Not yet, at least. Soma, this is Sir Ludwin Arx. He's the captain of the Royal Guard.
It's Soma Kazuya. I'm sort of the country's acting king at the moment.
You've made quite the impression. Only recently taken over, and already your job performance is the talk of the staff.
Next time you see them, pass along a message. If they have time to chit-chat, they should be working harder.
Understood, sire. If I'm not intruding, may I join you for breakfast?
Fine by me.
As long as I'm here, might I ask you a question?
I'll try and do my best to answer it.
I hear you're attempting to carry out many reforms. They proceeding smoothly?
The opposite of smooth, to be honest. Human resources are a bit problematic. None of the officials are of any use, other than Prime Minister Marx. Besides the crown, I also received the king's senior advisors. To be perfectly blunt, these are the same officials who let the kingdom nearly fall into ruin.
My ears are burning.
Now hold on, Soma.
Where are the people who can tell me the truth, give me straight answers, and agree to complete whatever tasks I assign them? Those are the sort of retainers I need.
You want to use the gemstone broadcast to recruit people?
Yeah. If I have this right, the gemstone broadcast can reach across the entire kingdom?
Yes. As long as the reception environment's set up correctly, whatever is said in the castle's gemstone room will be heard across the nation, no matter how far away someone is from us.
Then it's perfect for letting everyone know our situation.
Ordinarily, it's only used for the king's New Year's greetings or to issue important proclamations and like orders. This will be the first time it's used for job recruitment.
How does hiring around here usually work?
Well, let's see. We look at all personal connections, or hold a written exam and recruit those who manage to pass successfully.
That sounds pretty biased, don't you think? Also, what's the country's literacy rate currently?
Half the population can read. If I had to guess, about 30% can write.
What? That's a terrible figure! You can't decide if someone's right for the job using just 2 criteria? Especially when you're excluding 70% of applicants before they can even interview! How many diamonds in the rough could be left undiscovered?
I don't know how to answer that.
No worries. Once the financial situation stabilizes, we can solve other issues as time permits. But first up, we have to start recruiting capable people.
And how are you going to encourage them to step forward?
I've been mulling over what I plan to say, but I'm just going to end up paraphrasing a hero I respect since they said it best.
Another hero?
That's right. An unscrupulous hero of chaotic times.
During the late Han Dynasty, Cao Cao, the man responsible for laying the foundation for Wei during the Three Kingdoms period, was so dedicated to gathering men of ability under his command, some described him as a man possessed. In the year 210, to meet the demand for talent, he issued his famous Order of Seeking Talents. Within it, there were passages that have been spoken for generations since, including this one.
If you possess a skill, we can use it! Is that supposed to be our new king?
He looks so young.
My people, we need your help. This country is facing a crisis. Between the chronic food shortages, the depression, and an influx of refugees whose lands have fallen to the Demon Lord's domain, the Kingdom of Elfrieden is facing several afflictions. Additionally, our neighboring countries are watching us with eager eyes and are more than ready to pounce. Realizing the severity of the situation, your former king determined he was not up to the task and entrusted me to handle these affairs. True, if we were living during a time of peace, there is no doubt he would have made an effective leader. However, we live in an age of upheaval. During strife, you need a king who is tenacious, someone who acts less like a saint and more like a survivor. To the point, a ruler who's able to keep your families and properties safe from harm befalling them, domestic or foreign. That is why your former king chose me to succeed him. I would never speak ill of your previous ruler, but in terms of resolve, I have the clear advantage. Presently, I'm spearheading a number of reforms. However, we are overwhelmingly short-handed for the tasks ahead. That's why I'm here, to recruit anyone with a talent that will aid the kingdom. What we require during these troubling times are not those who excel in peacetime matters, but individuals who can revolutionize this country. As for the talent, it can take many forms. If you can claim with confidence you are the best at what you do, come and stand before me. It doesn't matter your education or age, your social status, place of origin, ethnicity, or gender. You can't read or write? No problem. I don't care about your connections, how attractive you are, or the number of skeletons in your closet. As long as you can say confidently you're the best at what you do and there's no one else in the country who even comes close, if you believe that with all your heart, I say, come forward and present yourself. I know some out there are hesitant, wondering if their talent will be of any use to the kingdom. However, that is ultimately for your king to decide, not you. The determination whether or not this country needs your specific expertise begins and ends with me. I don't care if others have labeled your talent worthless. What are you waiting for? If your ability is determined to be an asset to this country's future, I will afford you every courtesy and look to you as my newest advisor. But perhaps there are some out there who are still unsure. Come demonstrate a talent that is unmatched by any other in the kingdom. And as King of Elfrieden, I will issue you a certificate of peerlessness and a monetary reward. Would that provide you with some incentive? If so, let me hear you! You may recommend yourself for someone else. If the candidate's another person, you will receive 30% of the reward. During these trying times, it'll be up to you to bring forth those who otherwise would not step forward. Also, if your talent is being the strongest one in the room, the best singer or something similar, candidates will compete with each other ahead of time, and the top delegate in each category will be selected, so do bear that in mind. Those of you who possess an aptitude, I'll see you at Parnham, so we may shake hands!
What was that bit at the end?
You thought it was too much?
Just a touch.
I hope it worked. We'll need all the help we can get. The fact that I can understand the language spoken in this country, and similarly that people here understand my native language, is not a coincidence. Apparently, this is some strange power imparted on heroes. Not only that, I can read and write the language of both worlds. Don't ask me how. It's like it automatically gets translated inside my head, and then I write it out. On that note, it seems no matter where you're from in this world, the entire population uses a single language. Which is hard to believe, given the diversity of cultures that call this world home. Out of everyone here, it looks like I'm the only person who has this auto-translate ability, so it may be exclusive to heroes. For instance, I can play recordings saved on my phone, but when I do, the only thing the people of this world hear is an incomprehensible language. It's all so strange. Someday, Licia, you'll be the ruler of Elfrieden. What I want, most of all, is to leave you with every tool you'll need to succeed. So after I've gone back home, you'll be able to manage all facets of this country. But, after it's on the right track, I'll let this country handle the rest. Of course, you can cancel our engagement.
I know that's what Souma promised, but did he really mean it? He wants to find more useful personnel to advise him. But most importantly, what this country needs right now is Souma's leadership. The place you're originally from, do you have family there waiting for you to return? Or, you know, friends, girlfriends, anything like that?
There's no one.
He doesn't have connections to the world he's originally from. So, what if I become a part of his family? I wonder if that would anchor him here. Wait, if I create a fait accompli as his fiancée, then...
Princess, it's time to get up.
I'm already awake. Princess? Is there something wrong? You're looking slightly flushed. Nothing is the matter. I was just thinking about... Today is the day. His Majesty is going to honor the 5 subjects who proved to be especially outstanding among the recruited talent. Yes, I remember. The king wishes for you to attend as well. So please hurry and get ready. I understand numerous people responded to his invitation. Yes, so many. The screeners were complaining, grumbling how there was no way they would ever finish. I'll bet if Souma heard that, he would say, if you have time to complain, get back to work.
What is with that expression? Don't tell me you're having second thoughts.
No. I made it this far thanks to my talent, but am I nervous about standing before the king and having to prove it can be of some use? Yes. After all, my skill is rather, well, you know.
You are in the presence of the king, and you will bow your head.
This is not my people's custom. I ask your forbearance. Respect must be deserved. Warriors from our tribe bow to no one but our master.
What did you say? Who if not the king is
It's all right. I'm the one who asked them for assistance to help the kingdom. We can allow some leeway.
As your majesty requests.
The rest of you, please stop bowing. If anyone here ought to be showing some gratitude, it's certainly me. Feel free to stand.
By order of His Majesty, the gifted and exemplary citizens of the nation have gathered at the capital. Those present today have shown they have rare abilities that set them apart from their peers across the land. We will now announce the talents these people possess and present them with their promised awards. Aisha Utgard, Dark Elf from the God-protected forest. If you would step forward.
Time for a little research. Dark Elves, a minority race within the Elfrieden Kingdom. The people are known for their elevated combat skills. They live in the God-protected forest, which is said to be divinely guarded, and are allowed autonomy over these woods as its caretakers. They have limited interaction with other races and are extremely territorial. It's helpful being able to read remotely like this. This living poltergeist thing sure does come in handy. Pun intended.
Your Majesty, she excels in the art of combat. It is fair to say that her fighting abilities are unmatched by anyone in the kingdom, and we commend her for that.
The foremost military prowess in the kingdom. I have high hopes for you.
To be clear, you wish to honor those who can prove they are an asset to the future of this kingdom?
That was my promise, and I intend on keeping my word.
In that case, I do not want the reward. I ask you to hear my request instead.
Go ahead. Please tell me.
My people are troubled, for in the God-protected forest, the mature trees are weakening while the saplings are failing to grow. Please, sire, I ask you to lend my tribe your wisdom.
I'm not sure what to say. Let's see. Just making sure, you are thinning the forest properly.
Thinning? What exactly do you mean by that?
You should periodically cut down a moderate number of trees in order to maintain the woodland and promote new growth. Everyone knows that. Then again, maybe they don't. If you allow the mature trees to grow rampantly, their foliage blocks out sunlight, preventing younger ones from flourishing. If the forest isn't managed and is left alone, all you're left with are old trees that are thin and weak like bean sprouts. Once that's allowed to happen, the woods become vulnerable to snow and wind. And without sunlight, the undergrowth begins to wither. The soil can't retain water, making it susceptible to landslides.
Your Majesty!
Yes? What'd I say?
I humbly beg your forgiveness for my rude behavior earlier.
Huh?
If you command me to fight, then I will fight. Command me to die, then I shall. Order me to become your concubine, consider it done. Please, as soon as possible, come to the God-protected forest. Once you're there, teach my people about the art of thinning.
Sure, you got it.
the sounds of it, things are getting interesting over there.
Juna Doma, you shall be next. Step forward.
Yes, sir.
What? I haven't forgotten my job, so stop giving me that look.
My king, this woman possesses unparalleled beauty. In addition to this, she has an incomparable singing voice. She may rightly be called the greatest songstress of our time.
A beautiful appearance and voice. God does have favorites, after all.
I don't deserve such praise, Your Highness.
From the information I've been provided, the Doma family's ancestors were Loreleis, so a talent for singing most likely runs through her blood.
Loreleis. Legend says they were creatures from the deep, who beguiled sailors with their beauty and enchanting voices. The singing voice of a Lorelei. I would very much like to hear a song.
If that is what you wish.
I know. All of Elfrieden is watching, since the ceremony is being transmitted far and wide via the gemstone. Could you sing us something that will help to energize the nation's people?
As in something lively? Let's see. Several songs have been passed down in my family, but most of them are melancholy in nature. Honestly, I can't think of any energizing songs, but if I were to hear one, I'm sure I could sing it right away.
If you were to hear one, huh? Well, in that case...
My king, what manner of device do you have there?
I guess you can think of it as a pocket-sized musician. Right, are you ready?
Ready.
The song I played you is one from my homeland.
Does that mean the language I just heard is from a completely different world?
Yeah, since it's foreign to you, it'll probably be hard to sing.
No, I'll be fine. I remember the song phonetically after hearing it, so I should have no trouble at all.
You memorized the whole thing after hearing it only one time? Amazing.
Most kind of you. Very well. I will sing for this land.
Here we go, go, 走り続ける誰にも止められはしない未来の自分へと Give a reason for life 届けたい
Thank you very much for giving me the chance to perform for the whole kingdom.
I should be the one thanking you. You have a wonderful singing voice.
I would love to learn more songs from your Majesty's homeland if possible.
I see you're as intent as ever on gathering intelligence from all quarters.
Valuable intelligence is worth more than gold. Information is the lifeline of any good merchant.
And has there been any news of interest?
Apparently, the King of Elfrieden is doing an overhaul of his advisors and recruiting talent across the country.
Seems he didn't think those musty dynastic retainers could fulfill his new agenda.
Certainly looks that way. Still, it's not like his is the only nation in desperate need of some fresh blood. In the end, that entirely depends on whether the person hiring can recognize a candidate's true value.
He displayed ingenuity and generosity in agreeing to the Dark Elf's request. As for the Lorelei descended songstress, I look forward to seeing how he will use her skills to better the kingdom. Overall, not a bad start. However, the most challenging trial is about to begin.
We shall continue with Pancho Benacata from Pote Village. Step forward. Right, that would be me, Your
Oh, pardon my clumsiness.
This man's talent for eating can be called legendary. While there were several applicants who answered the call claiming to have a true gift for gluttony, none could match this man's insatiable appetite. Furthermore, his search for food has been no ordinary one. He has traveled the world, eating specialties and rarities along the way. According to him, he has consumed just about everything there is to eat.
What? That's terrific news! Thank you so much for answering my call. I've been waiting for a person with your expertise. More than any of the other talented people here, I'm delighted that you stepped forward.
Your Majesty is delighted I'm here. You know, everyone, they call me Fatso and said I was a fool to throw my money away for the sake of eating.
They're wrong. Your well-honed gluttony will save this kingdom. So hold your head proud and high.
Are you sure about that, my kingness?
Yes. Your insight from sampling the specialties and rarities from all over will be the key to solving multiple hardships. I need your help, Pancho. Let me use your vast knowledge.
Yes, sire. If I can be of any assistance to you, by all means use my experience. Please.
Hey, Marks. If there's a distinguished subject, this country has a tradition where the king can grant them a specific title, right?
Indeed, you are most correct, my king.
In that case, Pancho, I will dub you with the name Ishizuka. Back where I'm from, it belongs to an insatiable hunter and master of cuisine. I trust you'll work hard not to tarnish the name.
When the sight of King Souma receiving Poncho was seen throughout the nation, it encouraged the reluctant. There were still those of exceptional talent who had not stepped forward, but after witnessing how all manner of skills were praised by the king, they gathered themselves to Elfrieden.
Your Majesty, the preceding three nominated themselves, but the next man was recommended by someone else. And now, Hakuya Kwan Min, step forward.
Sir.
This man has exhibited a talent for intellect. It is believed that his knowledge and memory are unrivaled throughout the kingdom.
Who was it that suggested your skills could help out in some way?
It was the uncle I live with, sire. He said I was old enough to stop reading books and should serve my country in a meaningful way, so he put my name forth. That's funny.
No, I was just remembering how I used to get that a lot myself, believe it or not. So then, what genre of books do you tend to read?
I do not prefer any one genre. I read literature, of course, as well as history, law, and military tactics. Assimilating knowledge unknown to me is my reason for living.
Interesting. In that case, how would you like to be a librarian in the castle library? You would have free access to books authorized to only catalogers.
Oh, that is most generous, and I graciously accept. Yes, I suppose that is what I would have said just a moment ago.
But not anymore, I take it?
No, I've changed my mind since.
Fine, then what would you prefer?
If you'll permit it, using my knowledge, I would like to underpin your Majesty's hegemony.
Pretty bold to use the word hegemony, and I wonder what he means by underpin. Does he want to be my military strategist? And you believe you're gifted enough to do that?
I would like to think I am.
You said that you changed your mind. Explain.
Begging your pardon, but since the ceremony began, I've been sizing your Majesty up, judging whether you were a ruler worth serving.
Seems I passed. What criteria were you using to determine if I was worthy?
It was dependent on whether you appointed Poncho. That was my litmus test. Even if you had not immediately recognized his value, but had appointed him for some future use, you still would have passed as a king. If you had judged Poncho's talent as worthless and rejected him, you would have failed. That was my line of reasoning. I never expected you to welcome him as you did. I'm pleased that I was wrong about you. There's no doubt your talent is sensing what this country desperately needs and seeking it out at all costs.
I will echo those sentiments. I also believe I know what this country needs during these trying times. But tell me, are you the sort of advisor who can help me get the job done?
I believe His Majesty must be the one to judge that for himself.
All right, then. Come to my chambers afterward. We'll converse, then I'll determine how much talent you have and how best to use it.
As you command, Grace.
And so concluded the first meeting between King Souma and Hakuya Kwan Min, the man who would later be known as the Prime Minister in Black. That evening, after talking late into the night, King Souma acknowledged Hakuya was a man of rare ingenuity and installed him as his right-hand man.
And lastly, we have Tomoe Inui of the Mystic Wolves. Would you step forward?
Right!
She's quite unique. This girl has the unusual talent of being able to commune with both birds and beasts.
Oh?
To verify this ability, we had her taken out to the royal stables. There she revealed both the health statuses of the horses and their histories. According to her, she ascertained the answers from the animals directly, making her gift truly heaven-sent.
The land of the Mystic Wolves. That's way to the north of Elfrieden. Wow.
Yes. As far as I'm aware, there are no other mystic wolves residing in the kingdom.
Which would mean that there's a good chance she's a refugee. It doesn't make any difference to me. She has an aptitude and I'll make good use of it. But the question is, how do I make the most of her talent?
My king? Excuse me?
What's wrong?
Nothing. Actually, there's something that I need to tell you.
Sounds like it's very important. Please, go ahead and say your piece.
Right. As it happens...
Sorry, you'll need to speak up a little or I won't be able to hear.
Well, you see...
No problem. I'll come down there to you. See, now you don't have to raise your voice so much. There's no reason to be shy.
Yes. The truth is...
When it comes to how people view so-called monsters, there's a distinct difference between this world I was summoned to and the one that I came from. Back in my world, monsters are not seen as people or animals. They're basically a separate class of creature. Things are different here. They fall into both categories. Some are seen as people, some as animals. To be more specific, humans, elves, beastmen, and dragonoots all exist under the label of mankind. As for the wildlife, even though they look like dinosaurs, giant lizards are seen merely as common reptiles. An ant the size of a person isn't the least bit shocking, and man-eating flora are still regarded as simply plants. Incidentally, dragons are known as god beasts and are treated differently. The reason they're not called monsters is because they're incorporated into the world's ecosystem. So Jelens, a slime creature which to me looks like something out of a sci-fi movie, are treated here as a common animal with an important role to play. So what does qualify as a monster here? Mostly creatures that look like fusions of various animals. Among their ranks are many beings that are relatively human-like in form, but no different from a common beast in terms of intelligence. Or so I thought when I started recruiting talent. Until a mystic wolf girl responded to the call and told me something that threatened to shake this world to its core. See? Now you don't have to raise your voice so much. There's no reason to be shy. You're absolutely sure?
Yes.
Have you told anyone else about this?
No one. I mean, besides you and my mother.
Remain calm. Keep breathing normally. Don't let anyone see how shaken you are. Your request has been duly noted. While I cannot promise you anything, I'll consider it. Oh, Marks.
Sire?
Her talent's truly a unique one. I'll need some more time to reflect on how to effectively use it. We'll have a discussion on it later.
As you wish, Your Highness.
My capable guests. For answering my summons, I'm eternally grateful. I ask you now to lend us your aid in reviving the kingdom. Please.
Yes, sire.
So, you said you wanted to talk to me about something that was important?
Back in the chamber, when she whispered to me, is it possible anyone in the audience heard her?
I know I didn't hear anything.
No, she was speaking far too quietly, sire.
My ears didn't pick up a single word either.
Sounds like there was no danger that it went over the gemstone broadcast then.
I don't think we have to worry. You shouldn't be sensitive enough to pick up whispering. Whatever she said to you must be serious if you're this concerned about it getting out.
Yeah. So she can converse with the animals. You heard that part, right?
Yes.
Not only does she know what they're saying, but somehow they're able to understand what she says in return. It's no stretch to call her talent phenomenal.
Yes, Even more so because she can also speak to demons.
Up to this point, it was thought the monsters of this world possessed intelligence equal to that of an animal's. However, among the Demon Lord Domain's ranks were those who acted in teams, using weapons and magic, and behaving almost as though they were no different than people. The humans began referring to these particular beasts as demons, to distinguish them from the others. True, these demons were different from other monsters, but despite being able to demonstrate intelligence, there was still one crucial component that separated them from the other races and breeds of the land. Demons could not be understood. Their language was unlike any tongue used by the rest of the world. Unintelligible.
You spoke to a demon?
But that isn't possible. No one can understand what demons say.
Tell us everything that happened in detail.
Well, the demon I spoke with in the woods was pretty short. And he had a face that looked pretty much exactly like a dog's. I went into the mountains to pick wild vegetables. That's where I ran into him. Before I could think, I yelled out, "Help!" Then, to my surprise, he said, "You can understand me?" He seemed as shocked as I was. My guess, he must have been a scout. At least that's what it looked like he was doing. He said we had the same scent. I couldn't bear watching you die. Go on and run away, quickly! And so that's what I did.
Meaning a demon actually showed sympathy?
It's possible this was an isolated event, and only a handful of demons would let a mystic wolf escape. But even if it's only a fraction, there are demons we can communicate with, which could alter our situation dramatically.
What do you mean by that? Are you saying we can negotiate with these demons and take back the lands lost in the war?
It would be nice if things took a turn in that direction. But as of this moment, the nations of mankind are joined together facing off against the Demon Lord's domain. Simply because the demons are seen as our enemy, one that is irreconcilably at odds with us. As soon as people learn we have a way of communicating with their kind, there's a big chance one or more nations around us will try and forge an alliance with them.
No, they would never do that.
I'm no expert, but our worlds have similarities. There are conflicts between nations here, aren't there? Those who would want to gain the upper hand.
Yes, just to the west of us. There resides the Principality of Amadonia. Under our previous king, we had a conflict with their country.
In an effort to keep Demon Lord's domain from spreading, we are all working hand in hand with the Grand Chaos Empire leading the way. However, mankind is not unified or immune from warring with itself.
You're right. There are those who'd exploit her power.
But I'm only bringing up one possible scenario since there really is no telling what would ultimately happen. After all, communicating with demons was thought to be impossible. The fact that we can is sure to shake up this world. We have to be cautious about this.
Very much so. We can't afford a word of this to leak and become public knowledge.
Exactly. But most importantly, the kingdom has to safeguard her with all the tools at its disposal.
You mean protect me?
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, you're far more important than even I am. You could shift the tide of this war and change the relationship between mankind and demons.
No way, me? Surely you're exaggerating a little.
I'd like a royal guard to watch over her. Will you see to it?
As you wish.
One concern, if we surround her with knights, would that not arise greater suspicion?
Very true. One minute she's a simple peasant girl, and the next thing you know, she's surrounded by the royal guard. People will inevitably think there's more at play.
You're right. Someone might get suspicious and start snooping around.
In that case, why not simply welcome her into the castle as royalty?
Huh? We can do something like that?
Of course. It's not usually difficult. Your Majesty would simply adopt her, but seeing how you're not yet wedded to Princess Licia, it's not possible right now. And speaking of the wedding, preparations would take more than a year to complete.
Well, that's that.
I wasn't trying to rush it.
Anything else?
Your Majesty could take her as your secondary consort.
A consort? Are you insane?
In this kingdom, the law states for a child to be a princess consort who is in line for the throne, her standing must be that of a knight or better. But as long as she's not a princess consort, there should be no problem.
Yeah, that's not the issue here. By the way, how old are you?
I'm 10 years old.
Perfect! That is well within the allowable range, Your Majesty. And for a political marriage, not exceptional.
Even so, that's far too young.
It's not like I need you to convince me. And why can't the previous king and queen adopt her?
Yes, I suppose that would work.
It absolutely will. I've always wanted a little sister.
Wait a minute! I I'm sorry, but I'm not so sure about this. Because I already have a family of my own. My mother and brother are waiting for me, back at the refugee camp.
It's all right. You see, Tomoe, it's more of a formality just to make sure you're well protected. If you become my little sister, your mother and brother will also become my relatives. They'll be able to live here in the castle with you.
Well, in that case, I agree.
Marks, we'll have some time to pass before the adoption, and then we'll make the announcement. If we rush into this without warning, it'll look strange and pretty much defeat the whole purpose.
A wise decision, Your Majesty.
In the meantime, I would still like to keep her safe.
You wish to give Miss Tomoe a role, which would require her to stay within the castle, correct?
I do.
Let's see. Then in recognition of her ability to talk to animals, how about putting her in charge of the horses that draw Your Majesty's carriage?
Great idea. Let's go with that. Sound okay to you?
Yes.
So, what exactly is going on here?
Isn't it obvious? I'm sewing.
That part I get, but I'm wondering why you're doing it in my room.
I had some downtime. I needed some place to relax. Everyone in the State Affairs office is working hard.
Why don't you just have my father give up his room already? So you can use it as your own.
Maybe. And again, for efficiency's sake. It's probably better for me to sleep in the office. I have to work in every day.
There are definitely other rooms in the castle.
By the way, what has Tomoe been up to? Ever since she got here, you've been doting on her like a big sister.
Lately, my mother has taken a liking to her. She won't leave her side. Sure, Tomoe was a little hesitant at first, but now she's delighted to have a second mother, so I guess everything worked out fine. It's okay, you may enter.
Just, don't read anything into this!
Seriously? He's back already?
Yes, and should be waiting for you in the reception room.
No time to waste, Licia!
Hey!
Welcome back, Poncho. So, was the expedition successful?
Oh, very. In large part because you let me use the Royal Wyvern for traveling. I was able to hit every one of my locations faster than I expected. I gathered pretty much every type of food I was after without any complications.
Wait, you mean you also lent him the hero sack?
That's right. It's far bigger on the inside than it looks on the outside. Plus, whatever you store inside it is less prone to spoilage. The perfect tool for gathering food.
You mean the same satchel that's part of our hero gear collection, one of the kingdom's crown treasures? And you're using it to haul around a bunch of... We'll move past that. What do you got planned anyway, going through such lengths to send them out and gather food?
What do I have planned? Something that'll do the kingdom a little good, I hope.
I hope that everyone in the Elfrieden Kingdom is having a great day.
I do as well.
And this is the King's Brilliant Lunch, a program meant to provide information directly from Harnum Castle to you, the people of this nation. Or we can just shorten it to the King's Brill Lunch. I'm your host, Juna Doma, and with me...
I'm, Pancho Panicotta, connoisseur of eating and all things food.
We're only addressing the entire kingdom. There's no reason to be nervous.
Well, the thing is, I'm not used to presenting to a crowd. As a born entertainer, I'm sure this must come natural to you. I'm really quite envious, Miss Juna.
It's true, I'm no stranger to entertaining large audiences. Speaking of which, whenever you're in Parnum, you might want to visit Lorelei, the cute cafe where I work, and say hello. I sing there from time to time, so stop on by if you're around.
If we could refrain from any blatant endorsements. And now then, to go into the specifics of the show, we'll now give the floor to this gentleman. You know him as Elfrieden's 14th king, His Majesty Souma Kazuya.
The truth is, I haven't actually been crowned yet, so technically I don't deserve the title. Hey, greetings. I'm acting ruler of the nation, Souma Kazuya. And as you're probably aware, the country is suffering from a massive shortage of food. As the chief administrator, it's I who should be held responsible. I apologize to you, the people. While we're moving forward with a plan to immediately increase our food production, it will take time and I ask you to be patient. Until it's resolved, we will keep making regular broadcasts. Our goal is to educate and inform. We'll introduce new foods, a few of which you may not be accustomed to eating, but are quite plentiful, as well as the different ways to prepare them. And to prove these strange items are delicious, I've arranged a panel of blind taste testers who have not been informed beforehand what sort of dishes are being served to them today.
Okay, then let's get started, shall we? Pancho, why don't we reveal the first food you have for us?
Ah, of course. Our first dish is...
I thought we were tasting food. You're not gonna serve that to us, are you?
Hope you're all hungry.
A perfectly reasonable reaction considering its appearance, but as a coastal dweller who's eaten these creatures before, trust me, they are quite yummy.
Juna, you ate one of these and actually liked it?
Yes, they are a traditional delicacy back in my homeland.
I'm not gonna lie, that's starting to smell pretty good.
Alright, go ahead and try one.
It's delicious, whatever it is.
Hey, you're right. This really is yummy.
Wow, those are pretty tasty. One serving isn't enough.
Would you mind if I helped myself to one as well, sire?
Please, be my guest.
Oh, so good. They're incredible.
They're so full of flavor, aren't they? When you bite through the crispy coating, inside's the octopus, and it's so juicy.
Daddy, we caught a whole bunch of octopuses in our net today, didn't we?
Sure did. Usually we toss them all out, but let's give them a try. Moving right along, here is our next food item.
I know these. They're tree roots, right?
They don't look all that tasty if you ask me. Are you sure that we can even eat them?
You've never had a burdock root before?
It sounds like you're familiar with these, Aisha.
It's hard for me to imagine anyone wanting to chew on a root.
Well, in the forest, you have to cook and harvest whatever nature provides, otherwise you won't survive.
I had no idea.
A little salt here. A little sugar there. All right, it's chow time.
They're crispy, and the salt lends them a lot of extra flavor.
When I bite into one, the oil comes off and mixes together with the sugar, giving off an explosion of sweetness that tantalizes the taste buds.
I can't wait until my mother gets a chance to try these snacks.
You eat both kinds at once. They're sweet, salty, and oh so good! Your Majesty, do you have any more of these?
From what I've seen, Aisha sure seems to be content, huh, brother?
Yes, it appears so.
You'll understand why I cook the next meal ahead of time after you see it.
You do not expect us to eat insects.
Funny, I could have sworn you were just telling us how you had to eat everything in the forest to survive.
And for some reason you assume that extended to bugs? You would have to be mad to eat these.
That hit the spot. You know, it's like being back home. Being boiled locust.
Bean boiled? So did you use some kind of extract?
Precisely. I primarily seasoned them using a combination of both mash water and sugar.
Never heard of it.
Mash water is a condiment. I find that mystic wolves greatly enjoy the flavor. More specifically, it's referred to as bean mash water, which is made from salting beans to ferment them. They continue skimming layers of liquid that forms during the process, and after fermenting it, you end up with mash water. Both of them are extremely unique flavors not typically known or available in the kingdom, truly.
In other words, the bean product is miso, and the mash water is soy sauce.
Souma, you really going to eat that? Wait, are you crying?
I can't stop myself from tearing up. This is, a flavor from my homeland.
Insects are a dish in your world?
With every bite, the flavor of Japan spreads throughout my mouth. Not only does this world have soy sauce, but miso too. I no longer have to dream about the flavors I love so much being only a memory.
Pardon, Your Majesty. I don't mean to interrupt, especially when you're so moved, but would it be alright if we continue to the next dish?
Huh? Oh, yeah. My apologies. On with the show, as they say.
We can't wait, Pancho. What do you have for us next?
Ah, yes. I think this one will surprise you.
We can't wait. What do you have for us next?
Ah, yes. I think this one will surprise you.
I hope I'm wrong, but is that a Jellin?
Why, yes, indeed. That's exactly what it is. You have a good eye.
That's weird. I didn't think you could eat those things.
Yep.
Just a moment, please. Is that Jellin dead?
Yes, ma'am. No need to worry. This Jellin has already been slaughtered.
It can't be. I've never seen or heard of a Jellin carcass before.
Yeah, now that you mention it, this is pretty weird.
Why? What makes it so unusual?
If you break open the thin surface membrane of a Jellin, its internal fluids come gushing out everywhere.
So it shouldn't be possible for you to kill one and have it remain intact like that.
I gotcha. So, what do you have to do to preserve the carcass?
Well, there is a bit of a trick to it, but it's not too terribly difficult. I learned this from a small tribe who lives far to the west within the borders of our great empire. If you strike it with a stick or something just hard enough so that you don't break the membrane, you can destroy the nucleus within. I'm told the locals refer to this method as Jellin Ikejime.
I guess they're kinda like fish.
If you successfully break only the nucleus, then all of that internal fluid will begin to congeal and the Jellin will grow firm. If you continue to let them sit after that, the remaining moisture will eventually evaporate and they'll become almost hard-cured lumps. I'd say 2 hours after death seems to be the sweet spot. They'll be solidified to a certain degree, but retain some of that springiness. That's when you could cook them up real nice, you see. Now, you can simply boil these strips in some salted water, and they'll firm up even more.
Huh. It looks like he's adding to stock.
Ta-da! Please, give it a try.
They look like udon noodles.
Oh? What's udon?
Oh, right. That's a back home thing. We have a thick wheat flour noodle that looks a lot like this. Though, the ingredients and preparation are completely different.
You don't say. Then I think you should have the first bite.
Huh?
You've eaten something a lot like this before, so go ahead.
She's absolutely right. After you, Your Majesty.
In that case, Highness, here you go.
Yeah, thanks. But I don't. Well, I did give the others food they weren't accustomed to. It's not fair if I'm the only one who gets out of this.
So, how'd it turn out, Souma?
It's way better than I expected. Now, I thought it would be slimier and fishier, but this is smooth and chewy. I'd say they're closer to kutsu noodles than udon, but there's a unique squeakiness to them. It's not bad at all.
Then I'll try it too. Wow, this is something else.
Its texture is unlike anything I've had before, and I kinda like it. And the soup really adds a nice flavor to them.
Wow, I can't believe this came from a Jellin! That's amazing!
Unfortunately, that's all we have for you today, so it's time we thanked everyone for tuning in to the King's Brill Lunch and wrap things up here. I hope you enjoyed acting as our host, Pancho dear.
Yes, although I'm afraid it may be asking a little bit too much of me to do this again. Sorry. Someone please trade places with me next time?
My, I certainly hope there is a next go-around. What do you say, Majesty?
Only if the people demand it.
Well, there you have it. It would be wonderful if there were some demand, don't you think?
Oh, I guess, but I'm not gonna hold my breath or anything. We'll see.
Oh, don't be like that. I can't wait to do this again.
No, please. I really don't want to.
Goodbye, everyone, and take care.
Who knew there would be so much demand to keep the Kingsborough lunch running regularly? Oh, we have to at least do a follow-up now. Come in. Marks wants me?
Yes, sir. He says he has something important to discuss.
What's going on, Marks? Why are we having to meet in here? Why not talk in the State Affairs office?
Do forgive me for interrupting your busy schedule, but I wanted to discuss the possibility of stepping down as Prime Minister.
No, you can't be serious!
The former King Albert recognized your Majesty's talents and yielded the throne to you without hesitation. I have given a considerable amount of thought to following his example. I have done what I can in your service for as long as possible, but I believe your needs have outgrown my abilities.
Unexpected. Have you thought about a replacement?
Kazuya has proven himself most talented and deeply devoted to the throne. I believe this man is the perfect candidate to take over my position as your new right hand. He has my full support.
So be it. The formal appointment will have to wait for another meeting. But yes, I agree with you.
My oh my, that certainly is a huge weight off my shoulders. Now I will humbly accept the retirement allowance I'm owed for my many years of service and perhaps purchase myself a cottage in the country where I can enjoy the rest of my days. At least that's what I had been planning, but I am well aware that the National Treasury is still in dire straits. So in lieu of my retirement and in service of the Crown, I will remain at your side and accept a salary commensurate with a new position.
How about that? You are a wise minister.
Even more than you previously thought I was? I am more grateful for your Majesty's words just now than I would be for any monetary reward.
Listen, Marks. It hasn't been very long since I arrived in this world. There's much that I still don't understand, especially when it comes to the customs of the court. I would like for you to act as a consultant to help me with that. Will you?
Your wish is my command.
Sire, although I haven't been formally appointed yet, as your Prime Minister, I have one suggestion I'd like to put forward.
What is it?
Majesty, I think you should take time off.
Huh? Honestly, of all the things Hakuya could have suggested, why did it have to be that? I get that when the boss won't take time off, it makes it harder for those under him to do so. But it still feels weird.
If I had my druthers, I would prefer that you take a substantial break, an extended stay in a quiet location outside the castle.
But we don't have time for that, do we?
No, we do not.
I figured as much. All right, what do you want me to do instead?
Take the rest of the day away, and leave the grounds before you're tempted to continue working. I've made arrangements to allow for your absence.
Yeah, if I'm taking time away, I'd rather stay in my room.
I'm afraid that's not an option. Our objective here is to have your Majesty show off that you are taking a break from work. You need to enjoy this time in a way that the castle is able to see and appreciate.
I don't think you can call that a real break, then.
If I may, sir, use this opportunity to take Princess Licia on a date in the castle town.
A date?
Oh, yes, by deepening your intimacy with her in that way, it will surely hasten your succession, sire.
Don't get ahead of ourselves. But I guess it would be kind of nice to go out together. So what should we do about an escort?
I think Aisha would be the perfect choice.
Brilliant, Hakuya. With such a mighty warrior to accompany them, their safety is guaranteed.
Sure, but if it's supposed to be a date, should I really bring another girl along?
You'll have a flower in each hand. I couldn't be more envious.
Indeed.
Damn him. He didn't mean that, right? Oh, just who I wanted to see.
shabby.
I could say the same about you. Your guard is truly impressive.
Is this how warriors of this world always fight? If they don't slow it down, they're going to destroy the whole castle.
Hey! Enough already, you two!
Your Majesty!
Date?
Yeah. So that's a no?
It's not a no, but knowing that Hakuya was the one who proposed it is a bit troubling.
Yeah, I kinda had the same feeling. But either way, I do have free time. There's no reason we can't go out somewhere, right?
I suppose not.
Ooh, sir! In that case, please come to our forest.
As much as I would like to. I only have today, so we'll have to go someplace relatively close by.
Oh. Yes, we would need far more time. It's 6 days round trip, even by horseback.
We'll plan to travel some other time. I did go over how to carry out the thinning, though, right?
You did. But there are many among the Dark Elves who have always been particularly inflexible on skirting tradition. They may take some convincing to let their own people cut down trees in the forest we're meant to guard. See?
Ah. No, that makes sense. Those types are all over.
That is why I would very much like your Majesty to travel there and rebuke them personally.
Understood. We'll go as soon as time allows.
Thank you very much. I have begged your indulgence, so in exchange, please use me as you see fit.
Great. I actually do have a favor to ask.
Sire, yes. Shall I to bed?
Why would you assume that?
Because I just finished offering myself to you. Was that not clear?
Souma.
Hey, don't give me that look. You know I wouldn't. I just wanted to ask if she would be our escort down in the castle town today.
Wait, you don't really want me to come along on your date, do you?
If Licia and I go alone and something happens to one or both of us, we'll be in big trouble. And when I say date, really just having a look around town, so no worries.
Well, I, for one, am a little concerned. It's nothing, forget it.
So this is a military academy uniform.
Sorry to keep you.
Hey, those glasses are really working for you.
Oh, you think so? Well, thank you.
Your Majesty, how do I look in uniform, sir? Huh?
It's not a great match for you.
Why not, sire?
How can I put this? I guess it doesn't exactly mesh with the mental image I have of dark elves.
What image of dark elves do you have? Do you think I should be wearing more or less? Would you rather I wore only my flesh out with you, perhaps?
No, hang on, I didn't mean that.
I have no idea what you're imagining, Souma, but you're crazy if you don't think she looks good like this.
I knew I liked you, princess!
Alright, let's observe some personal boundaries. It won't be long before we're in town.
Remember, once we set foot outside this carriage, you and I are no longer the princess and the king. We're simply students at the academy.
Yes, hence the uniforms. We can keep a low enough profile like this.
You can count on me, Your Majesty.
Another thing. We're undercover, so you shouldn't call me that.
Oh, of course, but what should I call you instead?
You can just call me by my name. Or if you prefer, you can use my given name, Kazuya.
Huh? Souma, I thought that Souma was your given name.
No, that's obviously my family name. My name's Kazuya.
But you're Souma Kazuya, are you not?
Yes, Souma Kazuya. That's right! Given names come first in this country like they do in the West! No chance I can go ahead and correct that, is there?
It's unlikely. Your official documents probably all have Souma Kazuya written on them already.
Oh, come on! I cannot believe I screwed up my own name that badly!
I don't think it's that big of a deal. Here we go. We can switch back and forth depending on where we are at the time. So when we're out in public like this, I can call you Kazuya.
I'm sorry you have to cover up my mess.
I'm happy to do it. What exactly is your perception of me in this moment?
I'm not really sure. Slacker dark elf?
I've only ever seen this town when I passed through on horseback. Getting to walk around and explore is actually refreshing.
It's been a nice break in the monotony.
Lord Kazuya.
What's up?
Something wrong?
No, but I am getting quite hungry.
In that case, How about we go get something to eat at Juna's cafe?
Well, if it isn't your magic...
Good day, Miss Juna. It's been a long time, so I do hope you remember me. But if not, I'm Kazuya, the son of the silk crepe dealer in the Kingdom of Echigo.
Ah, yes, of course I remember you, Kazuya. How could I ever forget? Your father is doing quite well, I hope?
Oh, yes. Although there was quite a scene when Mother finally learned of his unfaithfulness.
I can imagine. I do hope you're more mindful of how you treat women than he is, dear.
I'm glad she caught on so fast. Thank goodness for Juna.
I'm still surprised at how much I like this stuff.
So, has gelatin udon already become an official part of the menu?
It has. You would not believe the number of people who've asked to try it ever since the broadcast. And since it will still be quite a while before we recover from the food shortage, I'm so relieved to have such an affordable new ingredient.
I promise we're doing all that we can. Sorry if it's not enough yet.
Oh, please. I think you're doing a wonderful job, Kazuya. Don't you fret. Why does it always seem like you treat Juna differently than everybody else?
Oh, yeah. That's something that I noticed earlier myself.
It's nothing I can help. I get nervous when I talk to pretty women. You don't have to point it out. And Aisha, you can talk or eat, but not both. She's made her decision, folks.
You know, Miss Aisha, the first time I saw you in the royal castle, you struck me primarily as a gallant woman of action who would never let her guard down. But right now, you seem much more like a harmless slacker.
Hey, that's not true, is it?
From this angle, it looks like you just want to outdo Poncho at the gluttony game.
Yeah, it makes you wonder whatever happened to that gallant Aisha of yore.
Is it possible? Although I've offered my body and soul to you, you haven't asked me to bed because of my appetite?
Why are we suddenly talking about this again? But either way, it's not like I can do that when I'm already engaged, so...
Souma, don't you know? Polygamy is recognized in this kingdom. Recognized and embraced. Sometimes women will take multiple husbands as well. But that's not as common.
If you try to limit yourself to one husband and one wife, you run the risk of your household dying out rather easily.
Sure, I guess. So why haven't I seen any queen consorts apart from Lycia's mother?
Oh, that's because originally it was my mother who held the royal power. She's a daughter of the previous king, you see.
Wait, so your father married into the family?
Yes. He wasn't in charge of any governmental affairs until after they got married. That's why he never downplays my mother's involvement on the throne, and why he never took other consorts.
Hang on, then was it all right for him to concede the throne to me himself?
That wasn't a problem. My father got all the attention, but he could never have abdicated without my mother's approval. I'm the only one with a claim to the throne and responsibility to the bloodline, though. So I would eventually have to take a husband one way or another. In my father's case, there were extenuating circumstances that don't apply to you, Souma. If it's really what you wanted, another wife would be... possible.
But would you be comfortable with that?
Truth be told, I wouldn't be thrilled about it, but I'm willing for there to be up to 8, including myself.
So many? Okay, so where'd you pull that number from?
Well, I'd like to have you to myself at least once a week.
Oh, right. I keep forgetting this world has 8 days in a week.
Wait, so if everyone is assigned a day, does that mean only once per week?
Maybe, though I don't think it has to mean that. If you and one of the others invited each other to your respective days...
Oh, that's true. Nice looking out, Juna.
Although, it is hard to pass up some guaranteed time alone.
Oh. Yeah, you're right.
Come on, can we not talk about this in public, please? But I wonder what that harem would be like. 8 wives?
Out of the question! And do not make me repeat myself. No how.
The Elfrieden Kingdom's total military force is said to be roughly 100,000 strong. The army, led by Duke York Carmine, numbers 40,000. The Navy, led by Duchess Excel Walter, numbers 10,000. The Air Force, led by Duke Castor Vargas, numbers only 1,000. Though, it is said that one Wyvern Knight is equal to 100 foot soldiers. Furthermore, there's the Forbidden Army, which is composed of the Royal Guard under the King, combined with private armies of noblemen. Their numbers total 40,000 strong. Also, there are hired swords dispatched as part of the service contract with the mercenary state of Zem under the leadership of the Forbidden Army, but their employment has been terminated. The reason being, soldiers who fight for profit readily change sides. They have only one loyalty: whoever pays most. When a military force fights for money and not country, they do more harm than good. Now then, to explain why the Forbidden Army is smaller than the three dukedoms' forces requires a bit of a history lesson. The kingdom was originally founded when various races decided they should join forces. Humans were the most populous, so one of their own became king. But in order to preserve the rights of the other races, the top leaders of the three armed forces over air, sea, and land were chosen from among these people. It was a contingency plan in case a human tyrant were to begin oppressing them. The system allowed the three dukedoms' forces, which outnumber the Forbidden Army, to resist them. At a glance, this may look well designed, but a decision-making body split into groups has many disadvantages for a state. For some reason, when I contacted them about my reforms, the three dukes decided to give me the silent treatment. Because of these circumstances, I had the freedom to take some time off, and honestly, I was actually enjoying it.
Out of the question! And do not make me repeat myself!
It's not like you're going to change my mind!
Going off those ears, maybe another mystic wolf like Tomoe?
No, she isn't. That girl's a mystic fox.
Huh?
You can easily tell by looking at her tail. Clearly belongs to a fox.
Oh, right, definitely.
You wouldn't want to mistake mystic wolves for mystic foxes. That's an easy way to make both races mad.
Oh, thanks for letting me know. Other worlds are hard.
Of all people, I wasn't expecting to see Halberd Magna here.
You know him?
He's the oldest heir to the prestigious Magna family. Ever since his days in the academy, he's shown himself to be an outstanding horseman.
Ah, that's a challenge I cannot pass up.
Now, Aisha, she said he was outstanding, not the best.
After graduating, he was supposed to take a post in the army. Why is he in the capital?
And what about the girl?
Don't know.
That is Miss Kaeda Foxia. Actually, she comes in here relatively regularly. If I remember right, she said that she was a mage with the Forbidden Army.
I'm begging you, Hal, please! You mustn't go over to the Carmine Duchy right now! You know the Duke is outright defying the new King of Elfrieden. Worst case scenario, we're looking at potential civil war.
That's the whole reason for switching. If there's going to be a war, this is my chance to finally make my mark on the world.
I hope you realize there's more to war than just advancement. Your father's worried about you. He requested you come back because he doesn't want you doing anything rash.
My old man has nothing to do with this. He served under Duke Carmine's command for years. But when it's time to confront this new king, my father refuses to fight. Instead, he hides away in the capital. I don't have to listen to a word he says.
He clearly understands the situation better than you. When it comes to Duke Carmine, he refuses to heed the king's call and stays in his own lands. It's insubordinate. He hasn't been acting like himself lately. If we fight amongst ourselves, it only benefits the neighboring countries. The Principality of Amadonia will do whatever it takes to win back the territory that was seized by Elfrieden 2 kings ago. Most of the Republic of Turgis' land is frozen. They want rich soil and a harbor that won't freeze. If a civil war breaks out, I guarantee they'll invade us. Duke Carmine hasn't figured it out, otherwise he wouldn't be acting this way.
First, let's go over the surrounding countries. They're the nations that border our kingdom in the southeast end of the continent. They include the Union of Eastern Nations to the north, and the Principality of Amadonia to the west. To the southeast is the Republic of Turgis. Also, in the sea to the east, there is the Nine-Headed Dragon Archipelago Union. Then, west of the Principality of Amadonia, lies the mercenary state Zem. There are no countries with whom we have friendly relations. 4 of them are neutral, while 1 of them is hostile.
So basically, you don't have any allies.
With all due respect, because of the chaos from the Demon Lord's domain expanding, this is not uncommon. Presently, each nation is wary of the other's intentions. The truth is, the only allies they see as trustworthy are their own tributary states.
So, which territory is hostile? Is it Amadonia, Zem, or perhaps Turgis?
First of all, we can exclude Zem. To be frank, the choice to terminate the mercenary service contract left relations with their country somewhat strained, but still I would not call them hostile. However, Amadonia is antagonistic towards us, and if we requested reinforcements, they would likely send mercenaries.
Getting in some payback while also getting paid, is that it?
Come winter, Turgis will be isolated by the ice and snow, so geopolitically they adopt a policy of heading north.
But why north? Right, I forgot in this world it gets warmer the farther you travel in that direction.
They may be watching carefully for an opening, but if we gave them one, I doubt they would be openly aggressive towards us.
Basically, we have to guard against Amadonia, which is strange. They did offer to send assistance, if I remember right.
Yes. The stability of our neighbor, Elfrieden, is directly related to our own national defense. Thus, if requested, we will send reinforcements to put down the hostile 3 dukedoms, as they so eloquently put it. Thing is, it wouldn't surprise me if they made very similar offers to the dukes as well.
Let's work together to overthrow the false King Souma, usurper of the Elfrieden throne. About right? Obviously, their plan is to exploit the strife with the 3 dukedoms so they can expand their territory.
They'll see their chance to send troops into our lands, calling them reinforcements, then capture several of our cities. Amadonia will weigh their options, whether their assistance to your majesty or the duchies is more advantageous, then aid that side.
And after they've occupied various cities, they'll come up with some reasoning to annex them as part of their country.
Sadly, it's a rather common tactic, but quite effective nonetheless.
I'll bet. This is a real problem.
Well, all the dukes are likely wise to Amadonia's true motives.
So regardless of how much they dislike me, they won't let themselves be taken advantage of by another country. At least, I sure hope that's the case. There's still one issue, though.
How can the dukes needlessly oppose the king when the neighboring countries are looking for any opportunity to pounce? What are they thinking?
Yeah, that is the question, isn't it?
Duke Carmine isn't careless. Whatever his reasons, I trust him.
Even though you admit you don't know what he has planned, you're still more than willing to blindly follow him into battle?
For your information, several noblemen have given up on the king and have combined their forces with Duke Carmine's army.
And do you know why they're joining him? They're upset the king has exposed their injustices. After having their property confiscated to pay for their crimes, of course they have an axe to grind. If Duke Carmine is taking those sort of people under his wing, then I have a hard time believing his cause is just.
Well, it's not like he...
Look, Hal, I'm begging you. Reconsider going over to the Carmine dukedom. It's dangerous to side with anyone who opposes this king. Trust me.
A child unproven in combat dangerous? He's no match for a battle-tested hero like Duke Carmine.
Your perception of him is all wrong. Isn't my word good enough? That man is formidable.
And what makes you say that?
An army's effectiveness depends on the quality of soldiers and supplies. The same is also true for a nation. Our new king, he's finding people to solve the food crisis. So, pardon, but why are we here? Please don't tell me you're going to arrest Halbert because of what he said back at the cafe. The boy's harmless. He's dumb, but he'd never do something as stupid as rebel against the kingdom.
I think you have the wrong idea.
I do? So why were you in town?
I got some time off of work unexpectedly, so I popped into Juna's cafe.
Oh, a much-deserved break.
Enough games. Are you one of Kaeda's friends?
No, not exactly.
Then how about minding your own business?
Now, Hal, you don't have to be so rude to our...
Be quiet! Who asked your opinion anyway?
Hey, there's no need for you to raise your voice at her. I don't care if you do know each other.
You butt out. Whose fault is it that we're... I can't... Call her up!
Aisha, that's enough.
Here to explain just who the hell you are?
I don't get a chance to do this very often. Time to get a little theatrical. Why, Halbert, it seems you've forgotten my face.
No, it can't be! Your Majesty!
How can I feel guilty about being dramatic when I got a reaction that over the top?
Kaeda, you knew it was him the whole time? Then how come you didn't tell me to shut up sooner?
Let's continue our conversation.
Huh?
I'm curious, is your intention to actually side with Duke Carmine?
Well, that is...
I couldn't really blame you if you chose to do so. The same way a ruler chooses and appoints his officers, I believe those officers have a right to choose the ruler they're going to serve. Kaeda, just how do you know Halbert?
We're childhood friends, Your Highness.
Childhood friends, eh? I see. Well, Halbert, as I mentioned, I'm not going to stop you from siding with the 3 dukedoms. However, I'm sure you already realized an inevitable fact. After I retaliate against them for their betrayal, you'll be forced to fight your friend. If I understand, Kaeda's a mage with the Forbidden Army. meaning that she's in a unit that reports directly to me. When you're out on the battlefield, do you think you'll be able to raise your sword against her should your two paths end up crossing? And even if you're not personally responsible, there's still a chance someone else fighting on your side might end up taking her life. In the heat of battle, when you know she'll be exposed to danger, can you say without hesitation you'll be fine on the side of the enemy and not being able to come to her aid? You don't have to answer, but just know that whatever road you do choose, it leads to a future not that far away. Before you're swept up in the moment and do something that might prove rash, just ask yourself, what is it that you want? What you truly desire? For whom and why you want it?
What I desire, and for whom.
Just a little break, yeah, right. The moment she lied down, she passed out.
Sounds like she's having a nice dream, at least.
Say, Souma. Earlier you seemed really intent on trying to change Halbert's mind. And laying it on pretty thick, to be honest. Like you didn't want him and Kaida separating.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking realistically about what would happen if they fought on opposite sides.
You look tired. Why don't you lay on my lap?
Huh? On your lap?
Don't make it sound weird. Besides, this is supposed to be a date after all.
You do have a good point. Not like it'd be out of the ordinary.
Doesn't this make us look like we're engaged?
Yeah, in name only at least.
Name only.
Don't worry about the whole betrothal thing. I'm only keeping the throne warm for a little while. After a few years, I'll probably retire from this king gig.
Hey, do you even want to be engaged to me?
It's not very fair to ask me like that.
Huh? And why not?
Licia, are you okay? You know, being engaged to me?
Yeah, of course I am. Don't read into that. I just meant you're better suited to ruling the kingdom than I am, that's all.
You're fine being engaged to someone you don't love? Just because they're better suited to being the king?
That's what it's like to be royalty.
Maybe so, but I'm not royalty. Not really. Anyway, I would rather marry for love's sake.
So, in other words, you don't like me. Can you say for sure you'd never fall in love with me?
Pardon, but... How much longer do you two need me to keep pretending like I'm asleep?
Told ya, I'm pretty good at this.
I assume you're moving him using that living poltergeist magic of yours.
Yeah, I must have leveled up by using it so much or something. Because now I can move up to 4 objects with independent consciousness.
Impressive. But out of everything, this is what you're using it on?
Your Majesty? We have 3 visitors. Glaive Magna, head of the Magna family, and his son Halberd are here with Kaida Foxia, a mage with the Forbidden Army. The 3 of them are requesting an audience with you.
All of you, please lift up your heads.
Yes, sire.
Oh wow, Halbert. Looks like you saw combat sooner than you were expecting.
I ask you forgive my son's misconduct. No, I beg you, have mercy on him, sire.
By misconduct, you mean yesterday?
Kaeda related the events that transpired, Your Majesty. From the abuse he heaped on your lordship, to his flagrant admission that he would take the side of the 3 dukedoms. It's unforgivable. Your Majesty's wrath is to be expected, but whatever punishment you see fit to administer should be mine alone to bear, for my failures as his father.
The blame should fall on me for letting things reach the point where my officers would consider defecting, I won't censure him.
Majesty!
And besides, by the looks of it, he's been punished enough already.
Such magnanimous words! You are merciful! Once we return to our mansion, I will see to it immediately that my fool of a son has this lesson pounded unto him by my own hand.
Yes, well, don't be too harsh. Besides, I'm worried if Halbert's rugged looks continue improving. I mean, get worked over anymore, it might end up upsetting Kaeda. That reminds me, I was going to do this at some point, but now's as good a time as any. We might as well get it over with. Mage of the Forbidden Army, Kaeda Foxia.
Sire?
It's obvious your talents are being wasted in your current position. I order you to serve under Sir Ludwin as a staff officer in the Royal Guard.
Yes. Huh? Hold on, me, a staff officer?
What's critical is the quality of our personnel and supplies. That is what you said yesterday at Lorelei. I believe you and I think quite alike.
Thank you very much, sire.
As for you, Halbert Magna, I order you be transferred to the Forbidden Army.
You want me in the Forbidden Army?
That's correct. You will be Kaeda's adjutant, where you will stand watch by her side and support her. Understood?
Yes, sire.
And with all that, our business is done here.
Your Majesty, It pains me, but I'm afraid I must request a longer audience before my departure. Something is weighing on my mind I feel I must tell you.
Tell me. I'm listening, sir.
Well, it concerns a matter I do not wish many people to hear besides you, sire. Might we clear the room?
All right. Let's hear it.
Sire.
This is surreal. I can't believe I'm actually having tea with the princess.
It would have been incredibly dull waiting around until Glaive and the king finished their business. This is a much better use of our time.
Lovely idea, Princess. Might I suggest that our two guests provide some insight how a young lady and gentleman can maintain such a strong friendship without certain entanglements. I'm sure it will prove most instructive given your situation.
Serena, please! Well, if it helps your highness, then...
No, she wasn't being serious.
And now that you've told me this, just what do you expect me to do with the information?
That's your choice. I just wanted your highness to be aware, and I have completed my task.
This is heavy. There are 6 elements: fire, water, earth, wind, light, and darkness, which make up the magic of this world. Fire, water, earth, and wind. Each of these elements have their own specific magic attacks, while light is basically used for healing. Darkness alone is unique. It isn't specifically magic that manipulates the dark. Any specialized magic that doesn't fall under the previous 5 elements is included under this umbrella term. After observing Licia and Aisha during their training, I noticed something. One can impart whatever magic they possess into their weapons and attacks. Additionally, there are a few who can create more powerful magic phenomena known as mages. When a mage is assigned to the armed forces, the branch they are sent to depends on their element. Fire goes to the army, wind elementals go to the Air Force, and water to the Navy. As for earth, they end up in the Forbidden Army, which reports to the king. Moreover, light elementals, which serve as medics, are assigned equally to each branch. Luckily for us, the Earth Elemental Mages are under my command. Currently, I have the majority of the Forbidden Army employed in some civil engineering projects. Incidentally, my living poltergeists are treated as part of the Other category. In other words, they fall under the title of Dark Magic. Time to take it outside the castle, and use it for a little adventure.
So, you're an adventurer who's joining our party for the time being, that right?
Hey, do you think that could actually be...
The famed explorer in a mascot costume that we've heard rumors about. Despite his appearance, apparently he has considerable skill.
Are you sure this guy's gonna have our backs when we need him?
Well, today's adventure is to explore the tunnels beneath the capital, which is just a beginner-level quest.
I don't see the harm. He seems charming enough.
Like that'll help in a fight.
In any event, I look forward to working with you.
He's a lot more agile than he looks.
I told you there was nothing to worry about. Can't believe we were assigned such an easy task.
All we have to do is walk the tunnels beneath Parnham looking for blocked passageways, and of course find out what wildlife calls this place home.
Stay alert since we don't know what we'll find next.
Everybody, stop.
What is it?
Something's ahead. And it's huge, whatever it is.
Is that a salamander?
No way! I've never seen one reach that size before.
Stay back! Salamander fluids are highly acidic. Close combat is extremely dangerous.
Fine, then we'll just have to rely on my magic.
Not if they're fire-based attacks, though. Salamanders are immune to those.
One choice. Ready?
Everyone retreat! Ow! You gotta run faster! This bit does serious damage! Don't let it splash on you! Like I wanted to! Master Mascot!
Cover your eyes, quick! Where are you getting up?
We should be safe out here. Wasn't this quest supposed to be a breeze?
That was too close.
We made it out just barely, but is Master Mascot all right? It looked like he took some major damage from that salivating salamander.
Honestly, of all the times you could have tripped, I don't even want to imagine what would have happened if I didn't come to your rescue. Huh? There's no reason for you to go and beat yourself up over it. You're welcome. Still, I did get saved by you, so I suppose that means we're even. Excuse me. Are you saying you're glad it was you that got burned by the acid instead of me? Ugh. Well, you shouldn't be. I'm an adventurer after all. When it comes to picking up scars, I'm no stranger.
It's almost like she's discovered a way of carrying on a conversation with him.
Even though Master Mascot didn't say a single word, how is it possible for Yuno to know what he's thinking?
I have a theory. Could it be the power of love?
No way.
It's a good thing I added acid resistance to him just in case.
Soma, what are you up to in here? Your friend's gotten a lot bigger from the last time I saw him.
I commissioned a craftsman in town to make a larger version.
You've been moving him around with your poltergeist magic?
Of course.
Don't tell me the mysterious mascot adventure everyone's been buzzing about is...
Yeah, one and the same is my guess.
You had him join an adventurer party and explore the underground passages? But why would you go and do that?
Huh? That was something I was mulling over, and I wanted to actually see what the tunnels beneath the capital looked like.
I can't even begin to imagine what you've got planned there. Did you turn up anything good?
A thing or two. Also, the adventure was pretty fun. I couldn't be more proud of these faces, eyes sunken, showing no signs of life. Your gaunt faces look like the spirits of the dead, haunting their own graves. For several days now, you have eschewed your bedrooms to work, battled with numbers from morning till night, and ignoring your family's pleas to stop coming to the castle. To put it simply, you are this kingdom's true treasure. Take pride, for all of the mental strain you've endured was for the sake of saving Elfrieden and guaranteeing its future! It's thanks to all of your work just now, we've secured the capital desperately needed, which will allow us to earnestly move forward with the much-anticipated Project Vanity Nova.
Vanity Nova?
Yeah, that's the name of a new city we're going to put here.
Since it's on the coast, does that mean that you're building a port?
Just wait. I'm planning on making it the largest base city in all of Elfrieden.
But Lagoon City in the Walter Duchy already serves as our main seaport, so why do we need another? Soma, you don't mean...
It's nothing like that. I'm not trying to start a conflict with Duchess Walter, really.
Then what exactly is your reasoning for needing to build a second port?
While we construct our new city here, we'll start building roads outward. If we maintain a transportation network from the port to other cities, we can control both maritime and overland shipping, making the distribution of goods much smoother. Once the project reaches completion, Venetinova will end up becoming the heart of this nation, and the roads branching off will be the blood vessels. That's the plan.
The kingdom's hardened vessels? I mean, is smoothing out the distribution of goods really that big of a deal?
Yeah, I'm underselling it. Licia, do you know how prices are determined?
Items people want are expensive or cheap, depending on the number available. At the very least, I know that much.
Right. The price of goods are determined in relation to supply and demand. If there's an absolute shortage of something, that's out of our hands. But if distribution is done smoothly, whatever material we experience a shortage in can be brought over from someplace where there's a surplus. Once the commodity excess and deficiencies are resolved, and a balance between supply and demand is achieved, inflated costs will gradually decline. So all throughout the kingdom, prices will begin leveling out.
Naturally, I think lower prices are a good thing, but how do we make them go down?
Tell me, Licia, what do you think is the most in-demand item in the country? The thing that people are seeking more than anything right now?
Oh right, food!
Yeah, exactly. There's a fundamental reason for the food shortage. That's because our domestic production of food crops is at an all-time low. And as a result, supply shortages are driving prices up, spurring things on. No matter how much food costs, you can't afford to stop eating. Prices go up, it puts a squeeze on household budgets, leaving less money to spend on other things. And that's the reason this nation's economy is stagnant. While converting our staple crop away from cotton is proceeding, we'll have to wait to produce actual results. But as of now, out of all the options, this is the most effective measure we can take to control skyrocketing food prices. It's imperative we secure the necessary funds, no matter what it costs to make that happen. Once this project is at completion, our revolutionary reforms will take a huge leap forward. But we wouldn't have reached this point without you cutting out wasteful spending and finding the capital to build the harbor. On behalf of the people, I thank you. And yes, it's true. Your names may not go down in history, but together you have made a monumental contribution to history, more than any hero on the battlefield. And believe me, I, Soma Kazuya, will remember that. All my life. Men, truly, you are the nameless heroes. All of you have done an exceptional job. You deserve a special reward. So, starting tomorrow, you'll have 5 days off. Ordinarily, I would at least present you medals for your hard work. But dipping into the funds you spent countless hours securing would defeat the entire purpose. And for that, I feel deeply ashamed. So in lieu of a medal, instead each take 1 bottle of wine from the castle cellar. Toast yourself, sell it for cash, or whatever you please!
What was all that? I understand that this is a huge accomplishment. Weren't you a little too worked up?
When operating on zero sleep, I do have a tendency of acting slightly overdramatic.
Speaking of which, why not give your mind a break? I mean, with your living poltergeist ability, you can let your consciousness rest in shifts, right?
I suppose. But then again, we were right on the cusp of securing the budget necessary to begin construction, and time was of the essence. So I kinda needed each consciousness running at full strength.
I realize this is important for the kingdom, but don't make me worry. There's no one else who can take your place.
If something happens, you could always summon a replacement hero, can't you? For now, I need to get a little sleep. Afterwards, let's go inspect the planned construction site for Venetinova. Edwin's there now. He and his men should already be starting their work. I need to go check on that.
I'll prepare a coach. In the meantime... He's already passed out. Must have been more tired than he thought. It is true. We could always try and summon another hero if we really needed to, but they would be someone different. And I want you. Soma Kazuya.
This is closer to Parnum than I was expecting.
The trip was so short, I'm not even hungry.
It's located near the center of the kingdom, and geographically, it's an ideal place to build a port. Kind of makes you wonder why a location this well suited went unused for so long.
Your Majesty! Thank you for making the trip out here. Good to see you, Princess. I welcome you to the future site of Benitanova. And thank you for safely escorting His Majesty here, Aisha.
Let's get right into it, Ludwin, and hear an update on how construction is progressing.
We've already finished marking off the territory. As for construction, it was on schedule.
What happened? You ran into trouble?
Yes, well, let's not discuss here. I'll explain the details inside.
There are people who are opposed to the construction?
Yes, sire. They live in a small village located a little farther inland from this point. They're led by an older gentleman named Uru, and insist we mustn't build a town on this land.
Did they say why they were so against it?
Brace yourself. Apparently this is the Kaijin's domain, and if we erect buildings, we'll incur its wrath.
The Kaijin?
That's what their sea god is called, according to the village elder anyway.
Kaijin, the destructive god of the ocean. So, this world has sea gods too, but do they actually exist or are they a myth?
There certainly are people who think there's something monstrous living deep in the ocean, but if you ask me, I'm doubtful this Kaijin exists.
I've never seen it myself either, sadly.
More than likely, it's just some sort of local superstition. Whenever houses are built on the sea god's sacred land, an enormous monster appears emerging from the ocean and swallows the buildings up whole.
A giant beast that comes out of the ocean and swallows all the houses up. Ludwin, I need to hear what this old man has to say in person. Tell me where I can find him.
The village he lives in is relatively close by. If you'd like, I could take you there now.
I had a feeling I'd see you again. How many times do I need to tell you about the Kaijin? Building a town down there is a death trap. Huh?
Forgive me, old-timer, but regarding this Kaijin, would you mind telling me a little bit more, please?
And who might you be?
Oh, I'm just the acting king of Elfrieden, Souma Kazuya.
Huh? Ah, Your Majesty!
Please continue, Udap. Tell me more about this sea god.
It's not my place to make demands of His Majesty, but I beg you to reconsider. No matter what's happened, this land has always belonged to the Kaijin. Whenever us land dwellers dared to build houses on its territory, we would awaken the sea god's anger and he destroyed our hard work. This village, the next one over, and the one after that have suffered generations under the Kaijin. No one dares live in his domain anymore.
Udap, since you're an expert on the Kaijin's sacred land and where it reaches, would you mind pointing it out for me?
So this is the sea god's sacred land? Don't tell me your majesty believes this legend about the Kaijin destroying towns.
No, it's nothing but a legend. However, since the folklore has been passed down for generations, I believe there's a moral to the legend their ancestors wish to convey. A warning.
So in reality, the sea god's wrath is a metaphor.
Yeah, and the story has one crucial lesson. Don't build houses in this specific place. You ignore the warning, an unbelievably large monster will emerge from the ocean and swallow up the structures you've built. I suspect that this sea god's wrath is really a tsunami.
But sire, as long as I've lived, I've never heard any tales about that area being struck by a tsunami.
Most likely, because the intervals between storms are so huge. 100, 200 years? Maybe longer. We're talking about a millennia.
1,000 years?
Before returning to the castle, I visited the other villages surrounding the construction site and asked them about the folklore passed down. I received a rough estimate as how much area the tsunami would cover.
Which is represented by the slashed out portion on this map, right?
It completely overlaps the proposed construction site for Benitanova.
Yeah, and almost impressively so.
Then, your majesty, knowing this, do we cancel building the city?
The project will continue moving forward. Except, we're changing the construction site.
Change the site, but this far in?
While this V-shaped topography is suited to being a harbor, there's just one major problem. Should a tsunami occur, people are at risk of being harmed. I'm thinking of moving the planned construction site to this side.
There? That area did actually come up as a possible replacement site for Benitanova. But sire, you're talking about planning for a tsunami that might not even come for 1,000 years. Aren't you being overly cautious?
If there's a 1 in a millennium chance it'll strike, who says it couldn't be during our lifetimes? As long as there's a remote chance, I'd like to make Benitanova a city that can withstand disaster.
Wise decision in line with your motto, to provide is to prevent.
When I consulted the elders about what preceded the sea god's wrath, every one of them mentioned how the ground would suddenly begin violently shaking.
Meaning, earthquakes?
Precisely. When a large undersea quake happens, the fault movement causes the seafloor to rise up quickly and then sink down, resulting in the sea's surface. Well, never mind the reasons why. What's important is that if the ground starts shaking even just a little bit, there's a risk a tsunami's on its way.
Very well.
To be safe, let's factor in a storm hitting the shoreline. Knowing that's a possibility, how does that event alter our current plans? Short version, people need to flee the coast as fast as possible if an earthquake occurs. Ideally, they need to seek shelter on higher ground. It is imperative we spread this information, especially to the people residing near the coastline.
As you wish, sire. May I also propose we consider appropriate locations for the citizenry to retreat to and prepare routes there in the event of an earthquake?
Please do. Now, as far as changes are concerned to the construction, first of all, we need to create a bank here and elevate our proposed site.
It shall be done, but that is going to require some time to finish.
I'll have the Earth Mages and the Forbidden Army make it a priority.
May affect the construction schedules elsewhere, but still can't be helped.
Here's a possibility to consider. What if we place the residential and commercial districts further inland?
Best to do the same for any consulates and other important facilities.
It begs the question, what do we do around the port facilities?
I've never met anyone as fired up about building a port as His Majesty.
We both know how he worked like crazy securing the budget to get this project off the ground. Naturally, he would be passionate.
It's admirable just how much His Majesty really does care about the kingdom.
Yes, Aisha, he really does. May I ask you a question?
What is it?
Do you have feelings for Souma, as in, like him?
You bet! I have immense respect for him.
And that's how you feel? Then let's support him in every way we can so he can stay happy.
Oh, you better believe I will.
Because of the existence of magic in this world, their technological systems seem a little strange to an outsider like me. For example, there's the battleship Albert, the only ship possessed by the Forbidden Army, which bears the name of the previous king. Looking at it as a whole, you would probably find its modern aesthetic strange, especially for a world that hasn't even reached the Industrial Revolution yet. However, despite being made of iron, as long as its buoyancy is taken into account, it can still float on the water. In other words, a battleship can still be fashioned, even with only a medieval level of technology. In my world, the reason they weren't built until after the Industrial Revolution was that there were no engines that could propel an iron craft. In this world, though, there are sea dragons that have the brute force necessary to tow an iron vessel, no engine required. By taming them and having them pull a dreadnought, long-distance voyages become possible. That is how they were able to build iron ships. The same goes for the large cannons mounted to the front of the vehicle. While this world has gunpowder, firearms haven't been invented. Since intermediate magic was used as a means of launching long-range attacks, guns were never necessary. Also, there's something called infusion spells. You can impart various effects on an object using these abilities, like making them stronger or increasing their ability to cut through targets. As for the cannons, this was done out of necessity. That's because any non-water-based magic is greatly limited while on the oceans, lakes, and rivers for some reason. Instead, these weapons were developed as a means of making long-range attacks. In short, technology is developed when it becomes needed. It's a world composed of backward systems, and here I am, attempting to advance my own civic projects.
From the city lights to the stars above, I'm chasing my dreams. Yeah, I'm spreading love through the rhymes I craft, through the stories I tell. I'm breaking down walls, I'm breaking the spell. This is the rhythm of the streets, where every word I speak, it brings the heat. From the struggle to the hustle, I rise in the land of the free. Under these skies, I hustle hard. Yeah, I grind every day, trying to make a mark, trying to find my own way. Through the ups and downs, through the pain and the strife, I'm a warrior at heart. I embrace this life with the mic in my hand. I'm a force to be reckoned. Every verse I spit, yeah, it's like a weapon against the injustice, against the hate. I'm spreading positivity, I'm sealing fate. From the block to the stage, I'm making moves, breaking stereotypes. I refuse to lose. With passion in my veins, with fire in my eyes, I'm reaching for the stars, I'm touching the skies. This is the rhythm of the streets, where every word I speak, it brings the heat. From the struggle to the hustle, I rise in the land of the free. Under these skies. Yo, listen up, world, as I lay it down. This is my story, this is my sound. From the streets to the stage, I'm here to stay. In the game of life, I'm playing.
Alright?
Sire, no problems at all!
Why are you acting so formal? Where's that candid spirit you had the first time we met each other?
I'm terribly sorry for how I acted that day. It was an unforgivable act of rudeness against your highness.
Listen up, alright? And that's a royal decree. Also, no more your highness. Call me Souma.
Oh, but, sire,
Hal, I wasn't asking you, I was giving you an order.
Understood, Souma?
That's much better. I've been hoping to find a guy my age that I can just chat informally with.
So this is what's involved when making a road, huh? Strange how I've walked on them countless times, but never gave a single thought to how they were constructed or the manpower that was involved.
Officially, this is an inspection, but no one said it couldn't be educational either.
What's that material that looks just like mush?
It's a special blend of volcanic ash and lime.
In the world I come from, they call it Roman concrete. It continues to harden over time. When it solidifies, even one of those beasts traveling at full gallop will cause it to crack.
That's pretty amazing, but is it really that rigid?
As a matter of fact, the degree of flexibility is what allows it to distribute the forces it receives. Back in my world, there are buildings made of this concrete, and they're still standing 2,000 years after they were built.
Are all of these street lamps modeled after the ones we used, like back in the capital?
Yes, they're designed so that when it gets dark, the light moss inside will glow.
Also, we planted warding trees from the god-protected forest evenly spaced on both sides of the road.
Warding trees?
Aisha, care to explain?
Sir! Warding trees like this one constantly emit a frequency that monsters and wild animals seem to find unpleasant. Most likely it's to prevent giant boars and other wildlife from devouring them. In the god-protected forest, we plant these trees around our villages. They keep the monsters and animals out and our people safe.
Sort of like a rudimentary barrier, huh?
But if we place them too close together, there's no telling what sort of impact it'll have on the ecosystem. So we moderately space them apart, far enough to discourage wild animals from approaching.
I don't understand. Wouldn't it be better to keep them out completely?
Right. So, Alicia, what do you do when animals who seasonally change hunting grounds like gray wolves or red bears can't migrate because of the road? They get stuck where they are and their food runs out. So then they start attacking livestock and people instead. Or another example. What if giant apes or boars who find themselves locked in one place deplete all the food and have no choice but to descend on settlements and eat whatever they find on the farms? Ask yourself, what should we do?
Alright, now I understand why we shouldn't stop them entirely. But why such specific examples?
Because animal control is an issue all local authorities should be responsible for, you know?
Local what? Authorities?
I didn't know you were thinking so far ahead. Leave it to you, Your Majesty.
What was that?
A messenger cooey.
Cooeys are birds that have a homing instinct as well as the ability to detect the frequency of their masters from across tremendous distances.
Impressive. They exhibit behaviors that would make them ideal as long-distance message carriers.
Well, whoever sent the letter, it looks like it was written for Aisha.
No, it can't be.
What does it say, Aisha?
It's a message from my father, the chief of the Dark Elves. This is terrible. He says last night there was a massive landslide in the god-protected forest, and it ended up swallowing half of a village. Before it happened, he says the forest had been experiencing a long stretch of rain. There's so many of us. missing.
Souma.
What do we do?
Hal, please. The king is thinking right now. Don't break his train of thought.
Kaida, how many do we have constructing roads?
Sire, there are 54 from the Forbidden Army and 4 engineers on loan from the Civil Engineering Guild. Of all of those, there are 6 who are Earth mages, including myself.
All right then, this group is going to the Dark Elves village to rescue them.
Majesty.
Aisha, one-on-one, there's no question that you're stronger than I am. But I can mobilize a lot more manpower. So let me handle this. I guarantee you we will save as many lives as we can. Not now. Crying will have to wait. We need to carry out the rescue first. But if we're going to enter the God-protected forest, then we need you with us. Show us the way in.
Right.
Disaster relief is a race against time. Luckily for us, we're not that far from the forest. We'll head directly there.
As you wish, sire. I'll get the soldiers ready to go at once.
See to it. Licia, please return to the capital and request that they send a rescue party. When you get there, also ask Kakuya to send relief supplies to the Dark Elves village.
Understood. I'm on it.
Leaving now. How long till we reach the God-protected forest?
With a quick steed, half a day. At a normal military march, it will take 2 days, no matter how fast we hurry.
What? 2 days? If the landslide happened around midnight, about half a day has elapsed. No matter our speed, we'll arrive 2.5 days after it occurred. Only half a day before the 72-hour threshold is going to be tough.
Why a 72-hour threshold?
During natural disasters, about 3 days after the incident, or 72 hours, the number of likely survivors decreases dramatically.
Then let's not waste time and head to the God-protected forest!
I'd like to, but a normal military march will take too much time. Isn't there some kind of magic that can instantly transport a large army?
Are you kidding? If anyone could do that, do you think we'd be out here pouring this much sweat into building these roads of yours?
Damn it. Surely there's some way to get up there fast.
It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, my king. I am the Dark Elf Chief and Aisha's father, Wodan Utgard, at your service.
Please, let us dispense with the formalities. Right now, the recovery effort comes first. Currently, I have just under 50 Forbidden Army soldiers accompanying me. But in the coming days, a second unit equipped with relief supplies should be arriving. Explain the details to me.
Certainly. The landslide occurred on a slope here to the east of this village. By our count, over 100 are dead. But there are still more than 40 people unaccounted for.
All right, please compile a list of those who are still missing. If we cross off names as they're found, nobody will slip through the cracks.
Very well, my king. I'll arrange that at once.
Also, post lookouts to stand watch over the mountain. If it moves even slightly or there are any unusual sounds, have them warn us. The last thing we want is another landslide during the rescue mission.
Your Majesty, please allow me to carry out this duty.
Aisha has played in the God-protected forest since childhood and knows the area like the back of her hand. You'll be much safer taking her along. There were others as well who once roamed the forest with you, correct? I have no doubt they will be equally as indispensable in reading the terrain. Find them and take them with you.
Yes, it'll be done, Father.
We're counting on you, Aisha. But please, don't do anything crazy. Listen up! We're about to embark upon a search for the missing. While looking, if you hear any voice in the dirt asking for help, work carefully to rescue them. Time to show off the excavation skills you developed while building the roads. Remember, don't get in over your heads. If you think another side is coming, run, even if you're in mid-rescue. I will not accept a single casualty from my rescue detail. Understood?
Yes, sir!
I just heard someone. They're underneath this trunk, and they're still breathing.
What? I don't hear anyone.
They're under here. Hurry up and dig.
Are you serious?
I don't know how you could tell someone was buried there.
It's all thanks to these.
What is that? Like a mouse?
Carved out of wood. Watch. I'm using it to go search around since there are places in the disaster site people aren't able to quite reach.
Oh yeah, so this is your living whatever power I've been hearing about.
Yeah, I had made up a few prototypes for exploring dungeons, but I never expected them to be useful in situations like this.
What's wrong? Souma, you alright? What came over you?
Sorry about that. One of my wooden mice was out searching, and it just found some horribly mangled remains belonging to a victim.
You mean you share senses with them, so it's like you're experiencing it yourself?
I see. All of the missing have been accounted for.
Unfortunately, there are those who are now cold, lifeless bodies, but if your Majesty had not come to our aid, their number would have been far greater. As Chief of the Dark Elves, I once again must express my gratitude, sire.
Majesty! Father! The princess has just arrived from the capital and brought the second relief unit with her.
That's great news!
No. It's too late.
It's true they weren't here in time to search. But at this stage, it's more important to focus on relief. Tending to the wounded, moving the sediment, and building temporary housing. There are a number of jobs left to do.
But it won't bring anyone back from the dead now, will it? Stop this at once. This man is my younger brother, Robtho, Your Majesty. He lost his wife in this disaster, and his only daughter is still wandering the border between life and death. Understandably, he's somewhat distraught. Please forgive him.
No, it's okay.
My king! I've done my part to keep the forest safe! So why has the forest taken my family?
Enough, Robtho! This is no time to ask futile questions. That won't bring anyone back. Right now, mourn your wife's death, and pray that your daughter's spirit will continue to remain a part of this world.
My uncle was opposed to thinning out the forest. He felt that for Dark Elves, guardians of the woods, cutting down trees was a betrayal of our sacred role.
I see. That's why.
Are you saying that if my uncle had been more cooperative towards thinning, this wouldn't have happened and his wife and daughter might have been spared?
There is... I don't know. It's true, moderate trimming can make a slight difference. Undergrowth comes in and the soil retains water. That way we can create an environment less prone to landslides. Still, at the end of the day, it prevents but can't eliminate them. In this instance, prolonged rains were the catalyst. Truth is, it could happen anywhere.
Then ultimately it boils down to bad luck?
For the location of this landslide, I'm afraid so. However, thinning is a constant operation within the forest. Hearing any unusual sounds, or noticing the forest appearing to move, signs of an impending landslide would be easier to notice. Once they were spotted, a plan could have been formed, and evacuation would have been possible. Protecting the forest sounds noble, doesn't it? But the belief it requires guarding is a mistake. Nature is not weak and in need of protection. It's egotistical to think we can destroy it. So is the idea that it needs us watching over it. It goes through cycles of destruction and rebirth all the time. People merely attempt to keep it in a state that best suits their own needs. All mankind can do is make slight adjustments. Thinning and maintaining the forest makes it possible to coexist with it.
This time around, I wasn't able to contribute that much.
You went and brought back the relief unit, didn't you? Everyone gave their all out there today. Almost. I was the only one who couldn't do much.
That's nonsense. I heard you made a huge difference with the rescue.
My responsibility is to be king. It's not my job to direct tasks on site during an emergency. I should have made preparations ahead of time before an emergency transpired, but that didn't happen. Because I was neglectful.
What are you talking about? Souma, if it weren't for you...
Utilizing the Forbidden Army as a rescue team went smoothly enough. But beyond that, I've fallen short several times. A clear means of communication, long-distance shipping, stocking rescue supplies per area, medical teams assigned to search parties. I overlooked all of it. I was so occupied with the food shortage and the 3 dukedoms, I failed to prepare for anything else.
Souma...
Your Majesty, it's me, Junadoma.
Juna? Come in.
Please excuse me. I spoke with the princess earlier. She said you had not been sleeping lately.
Don't get me wrong, my body wants to. But my mind's too active going over things to let me shut my eyes.
Would you lie down?
Huh?
Just lie back for me, please. You really need to get some rest. I realize you don't like showing any vulnerability, but I am on your side. I've noticed how you do everything you can to avoid looking miserable in front of the princess, and the tremendous effort you put into appearing strong for her. But sire, when it gets to be too much, please call on me. Oh. You've nothing to fear. If the princess is responsible for drawing out your strength, then I'll be the one who conceals your weakness.
If we plan to act before opinion tips in Souma's favor, is now not the time?
Then I assume you're still planning on rebelling against the king, Castor?
Absolutely. I could care less if he's a hero. And what about you? You dislike the king, which is why you refused his request for assistance, remember?
What comes first for me, above all else, is the peace and safety of Lagoon City. We're acting as though our neighboring countries aren't waiting for their opportunity to strike, yet here we are quarreling. Preposterous.
I assume you mean Amadonia. What about there, Arthur? If you wish to dethrone the false king, we stand ready to send reinforcements.
I'm sure they sent the same offer to the king as well. Obviously, they're hoping we'll bring each other down. Care to tell us what you have in mind, Jorg?
Be specific.
For one who claims to be loyal to this country, some might see your decision to take action against its new ruler as peculiar. Questions of the king's legitimacy aside, his reign has been sound. Why would you deliberately try to make waves?
I have determined that he cannot govern this nation effectively. End of story.
And why is that? He has overcome a number of crises already. What do you find unsatisfactory?
He cast aside years of tradition without even a thought! This upstart king was summoned here from a different world. Thus he does not hesitate to abandon our customs, but discards what he finds inefficient, such as our history and traditions. Or am I mistaken?
Well, no.
He did away with officials who served the kingdom faithfully for many years. Those who have ill will towards him will be effective pawns in his overthrow.
So that you may ascend to the throne yourself?
That is Duke Carmine. He has no intent to usurp the throne.
Clearly, after the usurper is driven out, I will have King Albert reclaim the crown and serve him again.
Castor, in case anything should happen to you, it'd be prudent to sever ties with Excella, Carla, and Carl.
You're implying I'll be bested by that lightweight child?
If you stand against the king, you should make preparations in case things don't turn out the way you had hoped.
Huh?
Carla!
I've made my choice. If Father is committed to fighting, I will stand beside him in battle.
You will not! Do you intend to turn traitor at such a young age?
After deposing King Albert and trying to violate my friend Licia, Soma cannot be allowed to continue ruling.
You misunderstand the situation. King Soma...
You needn't be concerned for me. I, Carla, daughter of House Vargas, will end his reign.
What do you have there, Father? A message from York Carmine. It seems he's finally taking a stand. About time he got off his hindquarters. The years have taken their toll. Back in his prime, the Duke would never have been foolish enough to accept any invitation that we extended to him.
That's for certain.
War has been declared, and so we shall act. Reinforcements will be sent to the kingdom.
And to whom will we be sending them?
Whom, you ask? Why, to King Soma against the three dukedoms. And we'll send the three dukedoms troops to overthrow him, of course.
You really are the worst, Father.
Good grief. What am I going to do with that old man and my dumb brother? As if Amadonia's strength wasn't meager enough, now they want to stretch it even thinner.
Pardon me. Best not to speak of such things so blithely, Rhoda.
On the other hand, the Elfrieden Kingdom has it nice. A large population means tons and tons of tax money and operational capital. Seriously, though, how can I not be envious of our neighbors' coffers? Hold on.
As the documents state, we can look forward to a plentiful harvest this fall. I think it's fair to say the crisis with the food shortage has been largely remedied.
That's a relief to hear.
Now that we've resolved that, we can move on to the next step.
So then, we really have to go through with it.
I see it weighs on you.
Oh yeah, I understand that it's necessary, but still. I mean, what other choice do we have? In Machiavelli's The Prince, the famous political thinker says the following.
If a prince must turn to acts of cruelty, then his position, even in peaceful times, is in jeopardy. However, some rulers, despite the length and breadth of their cruelty, live out long lives in tranquility, staving off domestic uprisings and the threat from external enemies. The difference depends entirely on whether the ruler's cruelties are used effectively or poorly.
They should be viewed as a sword, a last resort to cut through all obstacles. But if he relies too heavily upon the blade, then as the proverb goes, live by the sword, die by the sword. As I've said before, I've made the determination your plan will be one of these cruelties.
Indeed. I also remember you saying that if we must strike, then it should be one decisive blow.
One of these days, I'll go off and join your grandma. When that day comes, you'll be without a family. Build your own. And once you have them by your side, no matter what comes your way, you'll have to keep them safe. You understand?
Now's the time. Let our subjugation begin.
Now's our time. Assemble the troops. As soon as Duke Carmine begins his revolt, we will commence our invasion of the Elfrieden Kingdom. Our target is the grain belt in the southwest. 50 years ago, our land was stolen from our forefathers. It's time we reclaimed it.
A moment, please, if I may.
What is it, Colbert?
If I may humbly say so, please reconsider invading Elfrieden, Your Majesty. If you begin a war right now, our people will starve.
Domestic affairs ministers always say the same thing. Now's not the time. Focus on matters at home. And what do you have to show for it? Ever since Elfrieden's new king ascended to the throne, their national strength has made a significant comeback.
I beg you to listen to reason. If you enter into Elfrieden, our nation will be open to censure from all of the other countries.
Don't forget, we are signatories under the Empire's Declaration of Mankind's Common Front against the demon race.
The Mankind Declaration, huh?
Headed by the Grand Chaos Empire, the Declaration of Mankind's Common Front against the demon race, or Mankind Declaration for short, is the decree from the Empire which has the largest territory and military. It's an international treaty that states owing to the expansion of the Demon Lord's domain, all conflicts between mankind must come to an immediate halt. In order to keep the demons from encroaching any farther south, mankind must work together as a unified force to push the enemy back. Its main points consist of the following 3 articles. Of the 3, the first article states that should there be any changes within mankind's borders as a result of conflict, they will not be recognized.
If we invade Elfrieden, we will be courting intervention from the Empire and our allies, Your Majesty. I'm begging you to reconsider!
You're worrying over trivial matters, Colbert. Unlike our great nation, Elfrieden chose not to sign the Mankind Declaration.
Julius. Sire, that's just sophistry!
You should know when it comes to diplomacy, only signed treaties carry any weight.
But sire!
Enough, you fool! As of this moment, you are removed from your position as finance minister.
Oh, yoo-hoo, Mr. Colbert! Why the glum expression on such a beautiful day?
Princess!
By the looks of that bruise, you and my old man must have had a difference of opinion.
Allow me to assure you, I'm in perfect health and spirits, Princess.
Good to hear. Then go get ready to leave.
Huh? I beg your pardon? Just what exactly are you planning to do?
Isn't it obvious? We're both going to drop out of sight. Sebastian's already gathering everything we need for the trip. So for now, just come with me.
Hey!
What is it, Souma?
I'm about to meet with the 3 dukes. But before I do, there's something I need to ask you, Licia. I think this is the first time we've met face to face. Duke Souma Kazuya, the interim king to whom King Albert, the previous ruler of Elfrieden, yielded the throne.
Duke Castavagus, General over the Air Force.
At last I may greet our new king. It's a pleasure. I am Excel Walter, Your Majesty.
As you know, I'm Duke York Carmine, Army General.
Very well. I am now issuing my ultimatum to the 3 dukedoms. If you 3 continue to disobey my orders, then I will have no choice but to recognize you as traitors. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the matter.
And you will, but first, a question.
Please, go ahead.
Kindly inform us what you intend on doing with the 3 duchies.
If you do as I command, I have no intention of taking action against your territories.
What about our armed forces?
I'll merge your forces into the Forbidden Army, creating a unified military. In doing so, it will abolish your previous right to maintain armed forces within the 3 duchies.
Then it is just as I thought.
Even as an outsider, you should know what sort of chaos disbanding our armies will allow. When a despot becomes king and asserts racial supremacy, the other races will face oppression under his rule. To prevent this, our forefathers formed the 3 ducal armies, checks and balances. This allows the dukes to support as well as watch over the royal family, and, if it becomes necessary, to remove a tyrant should he ascend the throne. What are your intentions? To overturn the entire system?
It served the nation well during times of peace, but the state of this world is unstable now. The Principality of Amadonia wants vengeance against us, and the Republic of Turgis aims to expand northward. They seek an opening to claim our territory. And don't forget the 9-headed Dragon Archipelago Union, and their relentless disputes over fishing rights. During times of strife, having a military with multiple command structures is futile. Now is the time to centralize our power.
And what if that consolidated power becomes corrupt?
If that happens, then you're free to come and claim my head.
Before we continue, there's one more thing I'd like to ask. I hear talk that you are constructing a new Gulf Coast city, Your Majesty. Once construction is complete, what is to become of Lagoon City?
Valentinova. I plan for it to be used as a port of trade as well as a tourist spot. As for Lagoon City, it will likely continue to serve as our main naval port.
I am greatly relieved to hear that, my king. As of this moment, I, Excel Walter, along with the Elfrieden Kingdom's Navy, place ourselves under Your Majesty's command.
I am grateful for your wise decision. I look forward to working together for the sake of the kingdom.
The feeling is mutual, sire.
Now, Duke Vargas, will you extend your hand and help me for the good of our kingdom?
Unfortunately, I have to decline. I have defended Elfrieden, not only under Albert, but the previous 2 generations of kings. On that note, perhaps you care to explain why King Albert abdicated the throne, without so much as a word to the 3 of us.
Actually, I'd like to know that too.
Princess Lucia, do you know the reason why?
I am sorry. My father insists I stay out of such things to avoid suspicion. But if he were here, he would tell you Souma is your king now.
Is that so? Here is my answer. I cannot accept you as our king after all.
But, Duke Vargas...
I will instead side with Duke Carmine.
I see. And is that your final decision?
Yes, but it's one I reached on my own. Duke Carmine will have my support, as well as 100 members from the Red Dragon City Knights. The rest of the Air Force will not be mustered and will continue to remain neutral.
Very well.
Is Duke Vargas's decision in consideration of his possible defeat? How can this be?
Now then, General of the Army Yorick Carmine, I don't need to ask whether or not you'll side with me. The moment you gave shelter to nobles who were guilty of corruption, it was evident that you had no intention of following me. So I would ask you one thing. What is it that drove you to take this stance?
It's my pride as a warrior. After living for more than 55 years, my strength may have declined, but I've gained an extraordinary opportunity. Through my experience, I'll determine Elfrieden's fate.
But that's...
You're being a complete fool! Naturally, one cannot be a warrior without being a fool. And you'll bear witness to the way that I live my life.
Are you sure you don't mean the way you'll die?
They are the same thing. Those who aim to live die. Those who desire death live on. That is the way of the warrior.
You're just an old rotten trunk I need to step over.
Though I may be rotting, I am a great tree with strong roots.
It makes no difference! Yorick Carmine, Castor Vargas. I have one thing left to say. Before we head into battle, I'd like to make a proposal. I doubt any of us want the fighting to drag on, or for it to involve innocent citizens of this kingdom, am I correct? So I'd like to establish a rule where if one of us kills or captures the other, the forces under their command will immediately switch allegiances.
I agree. If somehow I am defeated, take good care of my men who survived me.
And with that, I will excuse myself.
Please wait!
Princess Lycia.
Duke Carmine, watch! Now you've witnessed my resolve. I've chosen to stand alongside Souma.
I've seen your courage and I acknowledge it, Princess.
I'm sorry. I wasn't able to change Castor's mind.
There was nothing you could do. He made his choice and must face the consequences.
Tell me, is she there with you right now?
Juna, you're requested.
You called for me, Your Majesty?
I wanted to thank you for everything, Juna. Because of your connection with Duchess Walter, we were able to resolve our differences without going to war.
I only did as ordered and don't deserve your praise.
Sending Juna to spy on you was deceitful, but I needed to show caution and care. For that you have my apologies.
It's all right. If you hadn't, I doubt I'd have you on my side now.
Souma. Don't forget, we have your back too.
Our victory is imminent! On this day, history is written and we will achieve our greatest triumph!
The Principality of Amadonia is invading. 30,000 of their troops are moving through the Ursula Mountain Pass. From what I see, based on their movements, Gaius intends to occupy the southwestern city of Altamora.
This land has fine hardy grain. Not even the Forbidden Army's troops could eat it all, eh, Weist?
Right, without question, and soon it will be yours. Altamora has no intention of defying you.
Basically, you'll surrender the city to us?
Yes, we have no other option but to implore your highness's mercy.
If you want it, then open your gates at once.
I would love to more than anything, but before we do, if you could wait just a bit longer.
What for?
The city is split between those who wish to surrender and those who will fight to the last man. That is why I have come here to grovel at your highness's feet, begging for his favor.
As if we couldn't take Altamore anytime we wanted, whether you're able to sway public opinion.
True, there's not a doubt in my mind, but there are fools inside who fail to understand. I trust your highness does not wish to lose any soldiers to the likes of them. If you will guarantee my life, I promise you, I will make the stronghold see the light of reason.
Wisdom states that it takes 5 times as many soldiers to seize an enemy fortress. What if we do as he says? There's no need to compromise our troops without reason.
Very well. If you will surrender your stronghold, I guarantee the safety of all those within.
Oh, my benevolent lord, thank you so much.
Once the gates are open, the city is ours. Then I'll hang that rat's head in front of the gates for everyone to see. What are you so worried about? Carmine has 40,000 men. Meanwhile, this King Souma has no more than 10,000. He's hopelessly outmatched. I doubt he'll be able to send them any reinforcements.
Damn it! They're coming at us a little hard, don't you think?
What were you expecting, Hal? Put yourself in their shoes. They woke up this morning and found a fortress appeared overnight. It's only natural that they would panic.
I guess. Gotta admit, when I heard about this Tsunemata project, I was surprised myself.
You have to hand it to His Majesty. As soon as talks with the 3 dukes broke down, he ordered all 10,000 from the Forbidden Army to mobilize.
I wouldn't have thought that we could take a position outside Rantel Castle that same day, though.
You're not alone, but that's Tomoe's Rhinosaurus land train for you. Not to mention, we had the advantage of using His Majesty's genius 2x4 system. The specs for the fort's materials were standardized and then mass-produced at the capital ahead of time.
All that time we spent constructing roads in a city really came in handy getting this thing built. Kinda miss being on the wrecking crew, though. That's another down.
Look out, Hal! The enemy is bringing in heavy artillery!
Huh? This is pretty bad, isn't it?
That's a bit of an understatement. My anti-magic reinforcement only works against spells and flame-based attacks. Hopefully Roman concrete and dirt walls stand up to They're breaking through! How are we supposed to stop them?
Oh, we are in trouble if you're asking me what we should do. You're positive there's nothing you can do with your magic?
Stop yelling at me! I practically used all of it up building a blasted fort!
Easier than shooting a falcon. Hardly a challenge.
And who are you now?
Forgive me. I didn't introduce myself. I've come here from the god-protected forest. You may call me Sir. I remember you from the landslide. Thanks to you, my daughter... I never got to say thank you, which I regretted at first. But then my daughter said she wanted to be like you. That's not the worst part, though. She went on to tell me how she wants to join the Forbidden Army and the Great Halbert. You can imagine my annoyance at hearing that. Open the gates! Our targets are the 3 cannons! As for the enemy soldiers, pay no mind to them! Do not get in too deep! Your only focus should be destroying the artillery! Come on! Let's show these traitors the Royal Guard is more than just a bunch of pretty faces! Towards the cannon!
Are you seeing this?
They've got the other 2 burning now.
Just a nick of time, too!
3 of the cannons were destroyed.
What a sad day, seeing the great Yorg's army turn to a pack of spineless cowards.
That's rich coming from a corrupt aristocrat whose only talent is in amassing wealth.
I trust you haven't lost your nerve, or have you?
You think there's anyone capable of intimidating me? I'm doubting you understand the situation. The enemy army are 10,000, while we are 40,000 strong. Why would we ever need to force our attack?
They're outnumbered. But if that's the case, should we not wipe out their forces in one fell swoop?
You attempted the same strategy and were routed, if you remember. You even took cannons with you, of which we are now down 3.
And we are truly sorry about that.
And there's no sign Soma is even in that fort.
Duke Carmine, how can you be sure?
Since the fort was erected, their army has been on the defensive. If he were in our position, he would have made some sort of move by now. No, he is definitely on the move. The question is where, and we must lure him out.
Do you mean to tell us you're planning on using the soldiers inside the fort as bait?
You men must be spent from the battle. This fight will not be over in only a day or 2. I suggest taking tomorrow to rest and regain your strength.
A splendid plan.
Beowulf. Is all prepared as I've asked?
Affirmative. Everything's ready.
Figures. What would you expect from a rat?
Prepare to attack at once! We will lay siege to the...
What am I hearing?
Forgive me, but the Lord of Altamora, Weisgaro, requests an urgent audience with you.
Let him through!
Yes, sir. I am terribly sorry, my lord.
Explain yourself! You promised me that you'd have the stronghold's gates open by now.
The holdouts have become more stubborn, and it's taking longer than expected persuading them to surrender.
What? You lied to me. I don't want to hear any excuses. I'll lop off your head and make you an example to everyone behind those walls.
Before you do, I wish to inform you that the shouting you just heard coming from Altamura were the war cries of the do-or-die resistance faction I mentioned earlier.
Father, in a battle against soldiers who are prepared to fight to the death, our losses would be far too great.
I could not have put it better myself. Yes, I failed you, but perhaps I can make up for it. Please accept this, my lord. Gold dust. I wish I had more. Also, if I may ask your highness's generosity.
I accept your offering, reluctantly. But what do you mean by my generosity?
Tomorrow at midday, see that tree? When its shadow reaches here, they will surrender. Until then, I beg you to refrain from attacking the city. I promise that this time I will be able to convince the holdouts that surrendering is the only choice.
Father, why don't we take Weist at his word and show some magnanimity this one time? Very well. We will refrain from attacking until noon tomorrow. But if the gates are not opened by then, we will take the city by force.
Thank you. Thank you. Leave it to me. I can convince them to open the gate for you, sir. Are you sure this is the wisest course, Excel? I mean, Duchess Excel. With that much gold at our disposal, we could have hired a whole division of mercenaries from Zem.
Until someone offered them more money. What good is loyalty that can be bought? At the moment, I'm engaging 3 different foes. Time is my only ally. If I can buy a little extra with gold, it will not be missed. But hopefully that much is obvious. Otherwise, you're nothing but a child.
I must say, this new king is quite daunting, sending you to act as his personal messenger.
Out of the blue, he says, go to Altamura. He really is a slave driver.
I'll wager that Duke Vargas and Duke Carmine had no idea that you were attending the conference from here. Masterfully done.
Not just them, Gaius as well. It takes 3 days to get here from Lagoon City. 3 non-stop days. Soma doesn't mind driving the elderly ragged.
Funny how you play the elderly card only when it suits you.
I get a free pass. But I forbid anyone else from ever mentioning it to me.
By the way, Duchess Excel, I was only able to buy us till noon tomorrow. Will that be enough time?
I'm sure it will be, for if His Majesty doesn't make his move by then, it won't matter. We'll have to die like heroes inside this stronghold.
What's wrong with you?
Nothing. I'm acting this way because I'm happy.
You're kidding. And why is that?
I suppose because I have you here beside me, Hal. It all comes down to today and tomorrow. If we can get through this.
What do you mean, if?
I'm hoping things work out, here and with everything we face down the road.
Hey, don't start doubting now after all we've gone through. We made it this far, might as well see it through to the end.
Good point. You'll be sure to protect me, right?
Finally, a breather. The enemy's dropping their attack.
I don't see any mercenaries from Semtown.
I told you to keep your head down!
If they're changing troop formations, there is a possibility the enemy's digging in for a more drawn-out battle.
That would make life a little easier for us.
Always stay light on your feet during combat, Hal, or the rug will be pulled out from under you.
Yeah, I know.
Prepare to launch our assault.
Messenger! Alert all units that we are now beginning our attack on Altamura!
Yes, sir. Multiple wyverns approaching from the sky to the east! It's the Air Force!
Duke Vargas sent them reinforcements! Is this what the ground forces have been waiting for?
Yes, my lord.
Let's hear it. How's the evacuation of the citizens going, Tolman?
I'm pleased to report it's complete. As of now, the only ones remaining in Red Dragon City are the Air Force personnel, as well as members of the Vargas household.
Very well. I'm glad to hear that. Who knows what King Souma is planning? He's quite resourceful for his age.
Oh, are you having a change of heart about him?
Yes, indeed I am. Better late than never, eh?
Well, another item worth mentioning is we have been receiving requests from Air Force units from across the country asking to join your side.
Turn them all down. I won't have them sharing in my obstinacy.
I had a feeling you would take that stance. Are you not joining up with Duke Carmine?
I don't mind fighting alongside him. I'm not about to stand shoulder to shoulder with those corrupt nobles he's taken in. There's no turning back now, nor do I intend to. All that remains is showing my mettle as leader of the Air Force. Do I go out in a blaze of glory, or chew through their flank like a viper instead?
According to the reports, the 10,000 knights from the Forbidden Army are headed toward the Carmine Duchy. While it is unclear whether or not King Souma is with them, it appears that he has no additional troops to send here.
So he's completely ignoring us.
You have only 100 knights, so disregarding you seems highly likely.
That's impossible. Souma's smartest play would be to defeat me first, then assume control over the Air Force and use them for a showdown with Duke Carmine.
However, if we're being realistic, the man has no manpower to spare.
We don't know for certain. He may deploy a strategy we'd never think of.
Father, Souma's force has been spotted.
They're here? How many?
That's just it. They brought a ship.
A what?
Father, the battleship Albert is heading this way.
They put wheels on it and are dragging it over land? Is he planning on throwing away his flagship here?
I didn't have any choice. I've already got a shortage of military strength as it is.
Duke Vargas, a letter from Souma arrived requesting conference via Gemstone broadcast. Apologies for the hasty arrangement.
Out with it. Why have you brought the Albert this far inland?
Isn't it obvious? To lay siege to the Red Dragon City, of course.
The Albert, it's shooting at us! Incoming fire!
Not bad at all. This truly was a failure of imagination on my part.
I take it you have an affinity for spectacles, Duke Vargas.
You better be careful, Souma.
You're in danger of becoming a better king than I expected.
You could make things easier for us by standing down.
Surrendering at this point would be disgraceful, especially after the show you put on.
I see. That truly is a shame, then. Have it your way.
Carla! Silence those cannons for good!
Right!
Souma, if you really have what it takes to be king, come and prove you're better than me. But don't expect any mercy.
Start the attack! Our target's the battleship Albert. King Souma's on board. Find and capture him. He underestimated us. Let's show him House Vargas' valor! Here we go! Prepare to drop the bombs! Man out of the bay!
Repeating bolt throwers!
Impossible! That's a fixed-based defensive weapon!
The kind you only see defending bases from air assaults. He's subverting all our expectations. Damn it! What are we supposed to do now?
The only option we have is to attack the enemy in their blind spot, my lady. It looks like the ship's wheels were hastily constructed. That's where it's most vulnerable.
Right. Then we'll approach by flying at ultra-low altitude. Did you hear that? I want all units to move in now! Neutralize the cannons, bolt throwers, and any other weapons it has in its arsenal!
But wouldn't it be quicker to pulverize the bridge?
Don't you dare! Princess Lycia could be in there! Destroying its weaponry will suffice, understood? And make sure you take Souma alive.
Understood!
We have to. Otherwise, if we kill him, Lycia will likely be devastated. But if that's a concern, I should have tried talking Father out of this. Which means... I should have supported Souma when I had the chance. Well, too late for that now. It's far too quiet down there.
We still haven't found any enemy soldiers.
Somebody had to be controlling those cannons!
Below deck, we found what looks to be an empty suit of armor, but the only thing inside was this puppet hand.
All of you, hurry back to the castle!
But we haven't located King Souma.
Because he was never on the ship. This was all just a trick, a ploy to lure us away.
When you say lure away, you don't mean his real objective was...
taking Red Dragon City, where Father is.
How did you find your way in here? I think one should store all kinds of documents in a library for moments like these.
In other words, you found the blueprints for Red Dragon City. So I take it you know about the underground escape routes and all its other secrets. This is the first occasion we've met face to face, isn't it, King Souma? Duke Castor Vargas.
And I am acting King Souma Kazuya.
You may call me Tolman, a servant of the House of Vargas, sire.
On that note, he had nothing to do with all this. If somehow I'm defeated here, you may trust the Air Force to him. The man will serve honorably.
If you're going to be this gracious about it, why don't you just lay down your sword?
Get a man back down when his mind's set. And no, I don't intend to go down easily.
My king, I'll handle this.
And you're supposed to be a hero? Care to face me one-on-one?
You can't be serious. No bureaucrat who stays locked away in a castle could measure up to her in combat.
Castor, just how long do you plan on aiming your sword at King Souma?
Careful, you get hurt.
I didn't want to reveal this in front of His Majesty, but I've been alive for several decades.
Ha! And I've been fighting on behalf of this kingdom for a century. Not too shabby, but dark elf woman.
Name's Aisha, and I won't let you lay a finger on His Majesty!
Quite the brute strength you possess.
True. While I may not be graceful, if my strength can be used in supporting His Majesty's reign, then being described as a brute is good enough for me!
Such fierce loyalty. You really find someone to be that good of a master?
While I'm not sure, what I do know is that I wish to remain by his side, to stay with His Majesty and the princess forever!
You're similar to me, and Carl as well. Still, if your loyalty overshadows your skills with a sword, you will fall! You and your master!
Ice Sword Mountain! Freeze right there!
The last thing I expected was for the princess to be hiding inside that doll. You've defeated me.
Indeed.
Please don't make that face. I fought true. Despite my pride, you won. There was nothing to regret. That aside, there's a question I've been meaning to ask you, Princess.
What is it?
Souma, is he the ruler our country deserves?
He is. In my eyes, he's earned the title. Some might call my stance self-indulgent, but there's no one more fit to be king. And if one day my father suddenly demanded the throne back, I would stand by Souma's side and fight to protect his reign.
You'd be willing to go that far?
The battleship exploded, which means the Air Force should be returning soon.
So it's to be a slave, Kona.
The name of the master it's been set to is Souma Kazuya. If you attempt to harm its master, then...
It'll automatically tighten, and my head will roll free from my neck. Yes, I understand.
Father, you'll pay for this!
Carla, enough! Can't you see we're beaten?
Your insurrection's squashed, and since a slave collar has been attached to your father's neck, killing Souma will end up taking Duke Varius's life too.
Tolman.
Sire?
Given recent events, I hereby grant you temporary commission of the Air Force, making you general over it and part of the Forbidden Army.
As you command, my king. But if I may, I wish to ask you one thing first.
Proceed.
What fate will befall Duke Vargas and Lady Carla?
We will review their case once fighting has ceased, but at the moment I will not speak on it.
Your orders, sire. As part of the Forbidden Army, how would you like the Air Force to move forward?
Announce to your people the outcome of the battle. The Vargas Duchy's been captured. As for its troops, they are now under my command and answer to my orders. Assemble your forces and head toward the Carmine Duchy.
Yes, sire.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Your Carmine. See you soon.
I know you have your doubts, but Carla here is extremely loyal. She's conscientious to the core and will do what is asked of her, no matter how much she might dislike it. She's a good girl, trust me. Also, to be forward, you may not be able to tell with all her armor on, but she's...
There's no need to oversell your friend's virtues, Licia. I know you're begging for her life. But are you sure you've considered the risks that come from doing so? Carla has committed the crime of rebellion. As a concubine, she might be shielded from prosecution. But if the king refuses to uphold the law, he will lose the trust of the people.
But even so, you can't just... Please stop trying to shield me. He sent us letters time and again asking for our allegiance, but we kept rejecting his offer. I consider myself a warrior. Until death. If my life is forfeit, so be it.
I only wish you could have taken that spirit and directed it into something that didn't hurt Licia.
Multiple wyverns approaching from the sky to the east! It's the Air Force!
Duke Vargas sent them reinforcements! Is this what the Crown Forces have been waiting for?
Looks like everything's going to be all right, Hal. Our gamble ended up paying off, eh?
I don't know how, but Souma really delivered.
As if there was any doubt.
Enemy bolt throwers have been silenced. Now then, let's begin our aerial attack on Randall Castle. Make absolutely sure not to drop them on the residential section.
Brought along the air support exactly as I promised.
And we outlasted the army's attack all according to plan?
It was only a day and a half, though. Shouldn't have been that hard for a competent soldier.
You dumbass! For your information, they were using cannons against us, so it was a little dangerous!
We didn't have it easy either. Duke Vargas gave us a real run for our money.
Whoever he is, that man certainly does speak quite freely with the king.
Yes, well, Halbert has special permission to be chummy. In other words, he's one of us.
Count Vargas and the Air Force have betrayed us. We must come up with a new strategy.
We're awaiting your instructions. Tell us what we're supposed to do now, Duke.
Are you going to say something?
Give me a damage report from the bombardment. Yes, sire. Some of the roofs and towers have been completely destroyed. Fortunately, casualties were minimal. However, Souma now has air superiority. I see. In other words, given the position we are in, essentially we have taken the people of this city as our hostages. Yes. Then there is no other way of putting it. The battle is lost.
But what you're saying is utter madness. The army remains virtually unscathed, and there's ample opportunity to turn things around.
If we use the people as human shields and hide in the castle...
Use people as shields and hide within the castle. I just want to make sure, did I hear you correctly?
You should be able to sacrifice your subjects if you desire.
Yes, I suppose that's the way you lot think, isn't it? Disgraceful.
What are you doing?
I don't deserve my slave.
It's outrageous to think I would ever lower myself to your level, out of my sight.
Your Majesty, as you ordered, we constructed and defended the fortress. Mission accomplished.
That was quite the feat. After the fighting is over, you and your men will be rewarded. Assemble your troops, Ludwin. Prepare to move out.
Sire, we'll make for Randall.
We won't. There will be no more fighting here today.
With that, I have done my part, and no longer have any regrets in this life except one. Now then, Beowulf, if you would see to mine yourself, sire. Send a messenger to their army with our surrender. Tell them with the exception of the nobleman's forces, our soldiers will only following my orders. I will accept full responsibility. As for the rest, I leave it in yours and Glaive's hands. Understood, sire?
A white flag is waving over Castle Randall!
Your Majesty, but how did you know?
This wine was a present from King Albert. The day the princess was to marry, I hoped to drink myself into a stupor. My only regret is not being able to see her in her wedding dress on that fateful day. But considering how I'm giving her the greatest present anyone could ever offer, pain is more tolerable. I bring word. King Souma has not entered Randall, but is already leading the Forbidden Army away from here and heading west. As soon as the army has regrouped, he has ordered us to follow.
You're just an old rotten trunk I need to step over.
I see. So that's how this plays out. He has no intention of netting minnows when he's after bigger fish. Well, my king and princess, go right on ahead and step over this ancient stump hand in hand. Cheers to you both. Glory to the young and to Elfrieden!
Someone explain it to me. Just what is going on?
I understand why you would be confused.
This whole affair was orchestrated by Duke Carmine.
What do you mean, orchestrated?
From the very beginning, I never intended to go to war against the three dukedoms.
Why did you...
I know how it looked, as if Duchess Walter fell in line after I made my ultimatum. But she's been on my side, for quite a while, actually.
Which is all thanks to Juna.
That's correct. The Duchess's granddaughter acted as a mediator between us. I couldn't be sure how the other two dukes would act, so I requested Walter keep this fact a secret for the time being. Regarding Duke Carmine, Licia told me several stories about the man, and based on everything I heard, if you spoke heart to heart with him, he was reasonable. But then he decided to harbor those corrupt noblemen. Honestly, that wasn't part of mine and Hakuya's scenario. No matter how I tried to understand his reasoning, I didn't know what Carmine's goal was. Then I met Halbert's father. Glaive requested an audience with me that day. All right, let's hear it.
Right.
About Duke Carmine. He intends to gather all the corrupt nobles who have committed offenses at Castle Randall and stage a rebellion against your majesty so that you may stamp them out. If these connected and wealthy men remained concealed, they would continue causing you trouble. But should the Duke take a confrontational posture towards the king, it would lure them out to his side openly.
Is this a joke? Whoever asked him to do anything of the sort?
Your anger is quite justified, sire. But I assure you this was Duke Carmine's idea, his alone. When wheat spoils, sire, it also spoils any surrounding grain. The problem with nobility is the network they share. Even if you are aware a nobleman is corrupt, should any of their relations beg for mercy, you'll have no choice but to let matters stand. That is why it is so necessary for them to be looked down upon as insurrectionists against the state.
Do we have to take things to that extreme?
Yes, but there is one other reason as well.
Let me hear it then.
The property your majesty seized from them was just scratching the surface. It's been confirmed the noblemen who have gone over to the Carmine Duchy spent vast amounts employing mercenaries from Zem. Despite your efforts, this only proves you have not stripped them of all their wealth. Dare I say, these noblemen are far more sinister than even your majesty is aware.
So is York's ultimate goal to try and get these nobles to spend the remainder of their hidden assets? Even if he does, it'll just wind up in Zem's coffers as payment for sending their mercenaries, unless it's ransom money.
Indeed. After successfully capturing the corrupt nobles, all the mercenaries hired by them will be taken prisoner as well.
Duke Carmine wanted them to use up all their dark money, so the funds would wind up over in Zem. When their mercenaries are held captive, he'll recover that money as payment for their release, reclaiming the wealth.
Yes.
A man who can think so far ahead, and I'm supposed to go to war with him? If he's prepared to go such lengths, he should work with me!
Please, your highness, you must understand. Duke Carmine has entrusted you with the future of this nation.
Why have such faith in my ability to rule, even though we've never met?
Who knows? But someday when you are standing face to face with him, you are free to ask him the answer to that question, sire.
Duke Carmine was willing to risk his own life. I hesitated to tell anyone the truth, even Licia.
He only confessed to me what was really going on shortly before he delivered his ultimatum.
You're saying that my father's in my opposition was...
I'm sorry. I could have told Duke Vargas about this development, but if even a word of it leaked out, then Duke Carmine's...
His entire strategy would crumble to dust. And yet he was willing to risk his very life, as well as mine and my father's.
Carla.
I won't show that damn waste any mercy.
Someone has stepped out onto the wall!
It can't be. How is Duchess Walter here? She was in Lagoon City during the conference with the other dukes.
Even in haste, it would have taken her at least 3 days to travel here. You don't suppose she's been in Altamura since before the conference?
She's been in contact with Soma all along.
Father, please, this is a trap. We must retreat at once.
I suggest minding that tongue, boy.
I am the acting king over the nation of Elfrieden, Soma Kazuya. Having defeated Duke Vargas of the Air Force and Duke Carmine of the Army, I am now in control of all the armed forces. This civil war has ended. However, we still cannot sheathe our swords just yet. You see, Amadonia's military has taken advantage of this chaos and chosen to brazenly invade our territory. For generations, they've taken land they lost to us and continuously raised tensions along our border. The current Amadonian prince, Gaius VIII, has been no exception. He has promoted friction between myself and the three dukedoms and operated from the shadows for their benefit. Will merely driving these invaders out suffice? At a time when mankind should be united in the fight against the Demon Lord, can we excuse such barbarism? Nay, it must be called out and punished. As such, the Elfrieden Kingdom condemns the Principality of Amadonia and hereby declares war.
Why, you insolent brat! You call 3 generations of noble conquest barbarism?
I'm sure you're watching, so Gaius, know that I'm sending my forces westward. As you may have surmised, our destination is Van, the capital of Amadonia. While you and your forces have been dawdling around Altamura, we have made preparations to burn your city to the ground. What you expect? You have raised your hand against my house, and now you will suffer.
We must ride back to Van immediately!
defeat Duke Carmine, and now you proceed to declare war on Amadonia. This isn't something you can do on a whim. This plan, when did you form it?
What's my family thinking?
Princess, I have received word that Prince Gaius departed from Altamura yesterday.
Forgive me, but I bring news. It's your father. Prince Gaius has arrived on the plains of Van.
I see. Out with it. Didn't make it in one piece, did they?
No.
They took Goldoa Valley, correct?
Sadly, yes. Most perceptive.
Souma's a master of finance, infrastructure, and warcraft. He deduced exactly what my idiot father had planned and cornered him.
Pray tell, what do you mean?
It's simple. The shortest route to Van would be going through the Ursula mountain range. Even if they were marching double time, they'd still pass through the mountains during the night.
Word is that it was a hellish night. Men abandoning their friends, screaming for help, clawing through blood and muck.
The way out of the valley is right up ahead, men!
The main force's vanguard is headed through the valley. Shall we give pursuit?
There's no need. We've dutifully carried out our orders. Prepare to withdraw.
By the time they left the valley, their army of 30,000 men was cut in half. After that, His Highness stopped in villages, gathering troops and supplies, and managed to recover his forces back up to 25,000.
Even if he does take back Van, doesn't Father realize he's turning the people against him? He's openly inviting a rebellion.
The capital has fallen.
Father, fear not. Look up there at the flags.
So they haven't seized control just yet. Drive the enemy troops away! We must get back to the castle!
I bring word, my king. The Amadonian force is advancing. They're planning to attack all at once.
A frontal assault, it's about time.
They waved the banner 2 times.
Crane wing formation. Royal Guard and Forbidden Army in the center. General Glaive on the left flank. Princess Licia on the right flank. Let us meet the enemy!
We'll never back down! Show these cowards how fearsome Amadonian soldiers are!
Strike with the rage of a country that's been invaded!
I won't let you lay a finger on the princess!
I'm Licia Elfrieden, if you want to claim the head of the daughter of Albert. Then come and take it if you have the nerve, you cowards!
Your Highness.
Your mind doesn't seem to be on the battle.
Isn't this what's required of a figurehead, General? His place is at base camp with too much time on his hands.
No one expects you to take up a sword.
Let others fight for you, right? Then the king's work comes afterwards. Beyond that, let's see. I suppose in the event things don't go as planned, I'll stick my neck out to plead for my men's lives.
Are you telling me you're not afraid to die?
What? Of course not. It's not as if I have some kind of death wish.
But you just said if it came down to it, you would sacrifice yourself for the lives of your soldiers.
Oh, I guess I did. That's kind of odd.
Are you feeling ill?
Carla, there's a chance that I'm a charlatan. Unless I become a full king, I can't send soldiers onto the battlefield. Without even realizing it, at some point I began conducting myself as the official ruler of the nation. I'm creating policy now by looking at the number of lives I can save, then subtracting the number we lose, and selecting a course of action that doesn't result in a negative.
What are you talking about?
I'm behaving like a coward. Deep down, I'm afraid. of seeing myself and others get hurt and die. But in order to enter into war, I have no choice but to fully become the king over this institution.
Julius, what is it, Father? Remove yourself from the battlefield.
Huh? But you can't be serious. Now, when the fighting has only just begun?
The battle's already lost. I don't know what I was thinking sending exhausted soldiers into this death trap. I will buy us extra time while you find some means of escaping. At least get yourself to safety.
You can't mean that. The ruler of Amadonia should be the one to survive. I'll buy you time.
I'm afraid that's impossible. Elfrieden will not cease until they have my head.
If only I can defeat him, then the hardliners within the Principality of Amadonia will cave. In regards to protecting the Elfrieden Kingdom, it's our best shot.
Then it's true. The only reason Souma is doing this is that he wants you dead.
Even if I were a coward and withdrew, they would pursue me to the ends of hell before letting me go. Take some troops and get yourself out of here. I was wrong. Compared to the bumbling Albert, this new ruler far outclasses his predecessor.
Please, allow me to ride beside you, Father.
Silence, boy! I gave you a royal decree. What will become of our family if you were lost too?
But there's still Roroa.
The future of our family has never concerned her. The soul of Amadonia lives on with you and must not be snuffed out here today.
Father, you can't. Please forgive me.
Now to show them what Amadonian pride looks like. Ha! Our only objective is claiming the head of King Souma.
It's the main Amadonian force. They appear to have fallen back, except for Prince Gaius and an escort of 500 elite knights, sire. They're charging here towards the main camp.
Your collar. I'll re-imprint it, and I'll answer to Alicia. If anything should happen to me out there and I fall during battle, I will need you to tell Alicia that I yield the throne to her.
Is that your last will or something? If you think there's any way I'm going to carry out that request, you've gone mad. Make life easier, order me to strike him down. It's not for your sake. Alicia is my friend, and I don't want to see her getting hurt. So give me the order already, and let's finish this!
Kill him.
At once.
That is far enough, Prince Gaius! I won't allow you to come any closer to His Majesty!
It has been done, Highness. May your wish be fulfilled.
That's not him. It's a decoy.
Stay aside, you peons! I will cut down anyone who comes between me and my objective! I don't know why you show this king such loyalty, nor do I care! I will achieve the desire 3 generations strove for, and no one will stop me, especially not some dragon who wedge! Before I spill Souma's blood, I'll gladly paint the ground with yours! You didn't really think Gaius the Eighth would be defeated by a mere puppet!
Carla!
Finally, I meet the source of my strife.
Yeah, I'm Souma Kazuya. And you're Gaius Amadonia, the man who tried to illegally seize our land.
Silence! That land originally belonged to our country. How is it illegal to tread on one's own land? Get off me!
Carla! No! Do it!
Better stand clear.
Carla! Are you alright?
I thought I told you to stay back. If something happened to you, Alicia would never forgive me.
Souma Kazuya, until I claim your head, I will never admit defeat. Your kingdom, I will take it down and make the people submit and demonstrate the backbone of the great Amadonia. I've had my taste of Elfrieden hospitality. Here is Amadonia's gift to show my gratitude.
I have seen Amadonian pride! All of you have! We've witnessed the valor of Gaius the Eighth of the Principality of Amadonia. He will be spoken of for years to come!
I see. So my father was defeated? Listen, Sebastian. Could you let me have the room to myself? Just for a little while? You really were a dumb old man right to the end.
This place is utterly gorgeous. They must have spent even more in decorating than we did at Parnham Castle.
If they had that much money, there were plenty of other areas where it could have been better invested. I mean, the layout of the streets is needlessly complicated. It's literally a maze down there.
Actually, they were made exceptionally complex on purpose, so arrows and cannons wouldn't have clear shots.
It's every bit the military state, huh?
So, you've been planning this takeover of Amadonia for quite some time, haven't you? Tell me the truth, Souma.
The reason why I didn't tell you
Don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming you. I'm just shocked how few deaths there were near the border, especially when there were few at the center of the kingdom who knew about the plan.
That was all thanks to Hakuya. When I proposed evacuating villagers near our boundary, he vetoed it immediately. He figured it would tip the Principality off and let them know we were aware of their movements. Do you remember when monsters suddenly appeared near the frontier?
They're called Flame Pureaux. The quest is to protect refugees in the village from these mysterious monsters. But such a hefty reward for a simple task. You don't think perhaps there's more here than meets the eye?
Not to mention, even though these things are supposed to be dangerous, the forest has been oddly quiet all night. You know, go on ahead and see what you can find.
Those are soldiers from the Principality of Amadonia. Gotta report this quick.
Reveal yourself!
Are we having a repeat of the dungeon incident? Well, those Amadonians got scared. The survivors all ran off. Looks like I owe you again, Master.
In other words, the disturbance involving the Flame Pureaux was just a clever scheme to get the villagers near the border to safety?
Your Majesty.
Ludwin, your report.
Sire, it seems Julius took a detachment with him and fled west. Supposedly there's also a princess, but I am told she left the city and took the finance minister with her, along with several of their key officials.
Not having them in the capital hurts us. Contact Castle Parnham at once. Have Hakuya send over bureaucrats.
At once.
Yes, Pancho?
I'm here reporting on the status of the treasury, sire, sir. I feel like you might have anticipated this already, but in terms of their food stores and capital, supplies are rather scant. On the plus side, they have plenty of weapons. So much.
Keep the essential armaments, then sell the surplus to raise funds. Until things are stable, let's also ration food in the castle. In the event we run out, we can import more, but only in an emergency. Would that be possible?
If you can guarantee our safety while traveling, I think we can manage easily enough, sir. Yes?
I'll make security our top priority. Next, Glaive.
The soldiers are maintaining discipline and in good spirits. With this kind of momentum on our side, we can easily conquer the rest of Amadonia, if you so wish.
We'll capture nothing beyond Van. The fighting is over with.
Really? Why not? I figured we should trample the enemy now while they're still vulnerable.
No matter how much we expand our dominion, it all goes up in smoke once the Empire decides to get involved.
You mean that the Empire's going to show up?
Oh, there's not a doubt in my mind they will. Amadonia signed the Mankind Declaration, and now they've been invaded by Elfrieden. There's no way the Empire ignores the actions we've taken.
Any changes within mankind's borders as a result of conflict will not be officially recognized.
Most likely. They won't stop at military sanctions.
But Amadonia attacked us first!
Unfortunately, that's just how international treaties work. The Principality will probably assert that it's Elfrieden's own fault for not signing on to the Declaration.
Which raises the question, why didn't you? Especially when you had the chance and knew what would happen if we fought Amadonia.
Because it turns out the treaty has a catch. Even if I wanted to, I still couldn't sign on, so...
But I don't understand.
Well, let's just say it could prove dangerous to the Empire, and potentially break them up. We need to hurry up with the post-war cleanup before they decide to act.
The bitterness towards the Elfrieden Kingdom runs deep. What will His Majesty do to remedy their distrust?
Historian Sima Qian said, to establish order and render meed, afford courtesy and song.
Sorry, I'm not following any of this. Junadoma here under the command of Admiral Excel. Reporting as ordered, sire.
Juna, thanks for coming. Wonderful job at Ursula, and that navy uniform looks good on you too.
I can't think of anything more embarrassing than having your majesty see me dressed in such fashion.
Ridiculous, you pull off beautiful and gallant without any effort. The reason I summoned you here is to help me carry out the next phase of my strategy.
Wait, the next phase?
Yeah, I've decided to call it Project Lorelei.
Good day to you all. I'm Chris Tachyon. Thank you for watching. This is News Elfrieden, a show where we present information not only about the Elfrieden Kingdom, but nearby countries as well, and deliver it directly to you, the people.
But I'm so nervous that I can't stop shaking, Your Majesty.
Take a deep breath and just relax, Aisha. Where's all that confidence you showed on the battlefield, huh?
That's because in combat there's none who can defeat me. But in this setting with all of its pageantry and fanfare, I can't find my nerve.
I don't see why. Personally, I think you look nice and fit. Trust me, Aisha. They'll love you.
Do you really mean it? But are you sure you wouldn't rather someone like Juna co-hosting with you?
She happens to be one of our singers, though. Besides, if anything unforeseen occurs, I can't think of anyone else I'd want by my side protecting me.
You can count on me to defend you, even dressed like this.
With that, this edition of News Elfrieden is over. However, we've something special planned. A brand new entertainment program. It's Elfrieden's first. I hope you will continue to tune in.
Well, you ready, Aisha?
Yes, I would follow you anywhere, Your Majesty.
His Highness was defeated by a man such as this? It said he bested the valiant Prince Gaius using only his ingenuity.
And now, we proudly bring you Elfrieden's inaugural musical program. First, little Camille Carroll. She may look like a child, but don't be fooled. When you hear her, you'll know this songstress has a heart of a diva.
When not singing, Camille's favorite pastime is making sweets, though she minds her weight and tries not to eat too many.
All right, let's hear her perform a song. Presenting Camille Carroll. Introduce the Lorelei, who is the pride of the Elfrieden Kingdom, presenting the incomparable Junadoma. I need you to keep a close watch over me, just in case. Shh. I haven't told anyone, but I added a surprise singer after Juna's performance.
Don't you think you should have told me sooner?
I have no idea if it's going to blow up or anything, but it's mostly for insurance.
I will safeguard your life with my own and make sure no explosions happen on stage. And now, we have a surprise guest performer. Lieutenant General Margarita Wonder from the Principality of Amadonia. She will be performing her country's national anthem, Through the Valley of Goldoa. demonstrated my backbone as an Amazonian. Now you are free to take my head.
Why would I?
In case you didn't hear, I just sang my country's national anthem. What's more, it's a song demanding the return of the land Elfrieden took from our forefathers. How can you overlook such an outrage?
So what if I did? There's no law in the Elfrieden Kingdom that says you can't sing music just because it's from another country. What makes a nation good? It's not an answer that can easily be found. But at the very least, it's somewhere people can express themselves, where one can sing freely.
The Grand Chaos Empire lies at the western end of the continent. In regard to Landia, it occupies the greatest amount of territory. Additionally, the Empire's population, military might, technology, and affluence is unmatched by any other country on the supercontinent. Then, 10 years ago, an incident came about which altered the situation. The formation of the Demon Lord's domain. Faced with the sudden appearance of a swarm of monsters, all across the nations of mankind, a call for solidarity rang out. The Grand Chaos Empire, with its unlimited resources, heeded the call and led the continent into war. Currently, the head ruler over the Empire is Maria Euphoria. She was responsible for putting forth the Mankind Declaration, which was more than just a coalition to battle the Demon Lord's forces. It was a sublime pact, created to put an end to warring and stop ethnic discrimination. Furthermore, owing to her beautiful appearance, as well as her kind-heartedness toward all races regardless of their financial standing, at some point, the people gave her an adopted title, and she became known as the Saint of the Empire.
Come in. Please excuse me. It is I, sister. Jean Euphoria reporting. I am off, leaving with an army detachment, departing for Van, capital of Amadonia.
Ah, that's right. You're going to meet with the Hero King in question?
Yes. While reluctant to be taken advantage of by Amadonia, I suppose my only option is to negotiate. Van must be returned at all costs.
I realize the Principality of Amadonia is the one at fault here, but we mustn't allow the Mankind Declaration to be broken. That would affect the prestige of the Empire.
It's an agonizing decision.
Please forgive me for placing you in such a difficult position.
What are you talking about? Sister, you are the one who is most heartbroken by all this. I promise you, Julius Amadonia may be free for now, but he will receive his just reward someday.
I hear that this new King Souma of the Elfrieden nation is truly a brilliant man. I believe that if you talk things through with him, he will prove reasonable.
You really think so? From what I've heard, I believe you two are like oil and water.
And what makes you say that?
Sister, to put it simply, you're an idealist, while this king is a realist. I feel that you two see the world from completely different perspectives.
Why don't you get a room of your own already?
I'm buried in paperwork, sun up to sundown. Even if I had my own room, I'd only go there to sleep. For heaven's sake, taking over Van has only increased my workload tenfold. It's torture not having a proper bureaucracy.
Enough of your complaining. Here, the next documents.
What? Let me guess, another request to use the plaza.
And we can expect a lot more to go through. There's open-air concerts, right? Plus plays, circuses, and seat-spitting contests.
I can't help but feel like I've opened up Pandora's box here.
I'm not sure what that is, but since your musical program broadcast, the people of Van are having an awakening of self-expression. That's just how sensational it was.
The harder one suppressed, the greater they bounce back when freed. I've no doubt this truly is a renaissance.
Huh?
Nothing, never mind.
Folks are getting down and dirty, huh? Must be euphoric. Everything my old man took away from them has been given back. Bet my brother's hopes of being reinstated are dashed.
Pardon, Princess. But what exactly did Prince Gaius take away from the Amadonians?
Just a little something called freedom, dear Colbert. It's a smart play. Soma's not losing any money and the citizens love him now. Also, if anyone tries to take it away again, there'll be a backlash. Freedom costs nothing, but to the people it's priceless. As if Julius can do anything when the country is this prosperous.
Almost like, are you saying Soma had that in mind when he made the broadcast?
Lowering taxes and increasing distribution wasn't bad either. In all my years of being in Amazonia, I've never seen fabric this spectacular. But we have to hurry, though. There's not a moment to waste, Colbert. It seems that Soma is moving faster than we imagined. After provoking us like that, I'm not letting you quit while you're ahead. Trust me, you're going to answer for your actions, King. You'd better get ready.
We have to be prepared, huh?
Yes, sire. The Empire has started their march here with a force of 50,000.
How long do we have before they reach Van?
While the main force will take slightly longer, we can expect the advance party to arrive any time now.
I understand. If there is any new activity, report it to me at once.
As you wish.
Excuse me, Your Majesty, but if you're not busy, can we talk?
Anything wrong?
Not at all. In fact, I have something you should be eager to see.
This is what you wanted to show him? Some flower?
Indeed. This flower is known as a beguiling lily. Yes.
Ah, so I can see that it's a lily, but when does the beguiling part come into play?
As it so happens, this flower's pollen has a powerful hallucinatory effect, so if you inhaled it, you would end up behaving like a sleepwalker.
A what? Well, would you mind getting it out of you then?
It's all right. The pollen has been thoroughly removed. Yes. Besides, the flower itself is mostly for show. This is what I wanted Your Majesty to see. The plant's rhizome.
The lily's bulb?
Oh, lily root!
What's so exciting?
The plant's root is a high-value food product. But I guess that doesn't fully explain it, does it? They're edible.
Very much, and the root has no hallucinatory effects at all. Yes.
So how's the flavor?
They're fluffy and absolutely delicious when steamed. And as if things couldn't be more in our favor, the beguiling lilies grow in clusters all over the mountains of Amadonia.
That's terrific news! I know lily root is rich in carbs. They can be a main dish like potatoes. This could be just the breakthrough we needed to solve the Principality's food shortage. Oh, but you can't get near them because of the pollen, right?
Yes, sire. Also, you have to harvest them when they're pollinating. Otherwise, their toxicity will spread all the way to the bulb.
Well, I guess that rules them out. If they can't be safely harvested, there's no point. Wait a second. How did you get this one here, then?
As a matter of fact, there are people who live in the mountains of the Grand Chaos Empire that routinely gather beguiling lilies and eat them as a food staple. Yes.
Then there must be some way to harvest them.
That's where the orangutans factor in.
The orangutans, huh? Those monkeys that like getting tipsy?
Yes. You see, fortunately for us, sire, they routinely eat the rhizomes of beguiling lilies. The people from the mountain noticed, so they tamed the animals to do the harvesting of the flowers for them.
I'm starting to get it. So that's how they're able to farm the plant. How ingenious. Do we have these orangutans in Amadonia?
Oh, yes. And to save time, I went ahead and asked Tomoe if she would negotiate with them. As long as we regularly provide sake barrels instead of wages, I believe we'll have a more than content workforce.
All right, Poncho. Start production of lily root at once.
Yes, sire. Lily stew rations are served over here. Come and get them. Yes. Oh, and over there are lily root dumplings that you could take home with you as well. Grab however many you need. The recipe is fairly simple, so please try and make them yourself. Yes.
There's plenty to go around, so remain calm. Form a line and we'll start handing them out.
It's a beautiful day, isn't it, Big Brother?
Sure is, Tomoe. Glorious.
Oh, wow. There sure are a lot of shops, huh?
If you see any that are interesting, we can take a look inside.
Yes, please.
Is that all right with you, Juna?
Of course.
Juna? What are you?
I can stop if it bothers you.
It's not that I object or anything, it's just... I thought you said that you were going to keep me safe covertly.
Did you really think I meant me alone? Look closer, you'll see there are several elite Marines who are guarding us from the shadows. I hope you don't dislike me holding onto your arm, Your Majesty.
I don't have any problem with it, so go ahead and knock yourself out.
Couldn't protect you if I did.
Right, well, considering how there aren't really any shops I'm dying to see, you go ahead and lead the way.
What do you think about getting some nice clothes for Tomoe as a present? Since she is your younger sister now, you could call it a gift from a family member.
What sort of clothing may I help you find today, sir?
Let me see. Do you have anything that would look nice on my little sister?
Wait, you're buying something for me?
You see an outfit you like? All you have to do is say so.
But
Come on now. Let me act like a big brother today.
We'll have a look around. Come on.
Okay.
What do you think of this?
I love it!
Or blue if you prefer.
Oh, wow! This one is adorable!
Pardon me, sir. If you don't mind, I'd appreciate your viewpoint on a question I have.
What is it?
Suppose that on a battlefield, all of your generals were gathered together for a war council, and that the first plan one of them put forward had several merits. Would you not then choose to implement this strategy immediately?
No, I wouldn't. I would wonder if perhaps there was an even better tack.
But now suppose that you were one of the generals and wanted your plan to be adopted. It would be a better approach to withhold your thoughts and propose your strategy as the solution in the end. Another way to look at it is that when it comes to bargaining between men and women, it's just a different kind of battle.
While I believe this would look good on Tomoe, perhaps I should wait a bit longer. You're a magnificent strategist, sir.
And I am honored by you saying so.
You used the War Council in your example. Was there some significance?
I do beg your pardon, sir. Up until a few days ago, I had been dealing with some rather distinguished individuals.
And these distinguished people were military men, I take it?
Oh, quite the opposite. One of them was a very charming, albeit cunning little devil.
Such a loud sneeze, Princess. A lady should refrain from calling attention to herself.
Who even noticed? One sneeze means you're being talked about, two means someone's fallen for you. Still waiting on the ladder, though.
Kazuya? What do you think?
Wow. Want me to carry those, Tomoe?
I'm okay. You bought these for me, so it's only right that I carry them.
Well, would you mind if I at least carried these?
Well, thank you so much, brother. You didn't have to. I'll treasure them always.
Oh, and I'm hoping you'll accept this, Juna.
Huh? Is that a hairpin?
You've done so much to help me and the kingdom. This is to say thank you.
Oh my, I don't think I'm worthy to receive such a generous gift.
It looks incredible on you. Really.
Your Majesty, if you intend on honoring us with such lavish presents, you should give something to the princess and the others as well.
You're absolutely right. But I have something already prepared for Licia and Aisha. By the way, Juna.
Yes, what is it?
It's Kazuya, not your Majesty.
You're far more spiteful than I expected, Kazuya.
You think so?
Yes. You also have quite a knack for flirting, too.
Big brother, look! There's so many little shops opening up!
Several in such a short amount of time.
This is the center of entertainment, after all.
Good day. How about a little something for your wife, sir? We have steamed lily dumplings for sale.
I don't know about you, but I could use a bite to eat.
All right, how about we buy something here, then?
Yes, please. Oh, I've never had anything so yummy.
These lily root croquettes are also pretty tasty.
If you think they're good, wait till you try them fried. Though I might have burnt my tongue on the soft-boiled center.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is
I wish days as peaceful as this could go on forever.
Elfrieden and Van will be sunny today, perfect for washing clothes. Taking in nature.
I never expected to see a gemstone broadcast used in this manner.
I expected the Empire, but inside the capital?
I'd like to introduce this system to my own nation. I'll look into it once I return. No need for that, songstress Juna. I bear no ill will.
Who are you?
I am Jeanne, the sister of Maria Euphoria, Empress of the Grand Chaos Empire. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Kind of audacious of you to just come strolling right into the capital, especially while I'm here.
It was necessary. I needed to see you with my own two eyes. Rumors alone aren't enough to ascertain the truth about a person's character.
Rumors?
Certainly. They say you are a wise ruler who pulled a kingdom on the precipice of bankruptcy back from the brink and rescued the people from a food shortage by preparing foods nobody was accustomed to eating. But also, there have been a number of salacious stories that have reached my ears.
Just a minute! What do you mean?
I've heard you are engaged to the former king's beautiful daughter, Princess Licia, yet continue gathering the kingdom's beauties, expanding your selection of consorts.
I suppose I'm included as one of those? I was aware such stories were making the rounds, but hearing it aloud is...
You didn't tell me?
Alas, if the rumors are false, then it rules out my original strategy.
Doing what exactly?
If you were as lascivious as they said, my beautiful sister could welcome you and plead her case, and it would not be difficult to get you to cave and accept any terms we desired.
Your plan was to try and have the Saint of the Empire seduce me?
My sister does not seem to like the title of Saints personally, but it does a little something for the gentleman. After all, you didn't hesitate using it just now.
Well, I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt her reputation, so...
What about my title? Does songstress do anything for you?
I don't think now's the best time to be discussing this.
Sorry, just wondering.
You are a more amusing fellow than I'd imagined.
What you call amusing, others might see as unbelievably awkward.
Not at all. A king being so close with his officers is evidence that the kingdom is in good hands. Speaking of, in the Empire, because my sister's a saint, everyone stays distant. Moreover, she is the Empress, but does her best to treat everyone equally. And yet, she feels she must be guarded against everyone. That goes for this matter as well. We have nothing to gain by assisting the Principality of Amadonia, not after they blatantly ignored the Mankind Declaration.
We just met, but for being sister to idealistic Maria, your view of the world certainly is quite realistic.
When the elder has her head in the clouds, the younger has to have her feet firmly on the ground. Anyhow, I admire the way you're implementing the gemstone broadcast. Would it be all right if I copied it in my own country?
Go right ahead. Not like I could stop you even if I wanted to.
Thank you very much. But I'm curious, how are you able to think of so many progressive ideas?
Progressive, you say? Back in the world where I come from, this is quite ordinary.
The world you're from. I completely forgot. On behalf of my sister, I wish to apologize for that. Tearing you away from your home and family. We had no right. For the hero summoning, I mean. I beg your forgiveness.
What's done is done, so please don't bow to me.
All the same.
The Empire has no reason to want a hero to interfere. Isn't that right? This was your way of showing consideration toward a kingdom that couldn't come up with financial aid for the war effort?
Yes.
That's what I thought. I was meant to be a human sacrifice all along. Elfrieden's too far from the Demon Lord's domain and can't provide aid. Also, they never signed the Mankind Declaration. In the member nation's view, we were being protected by the Declaration, despite the fact we weren't contributing any support. So you arranged for them to